What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Not So Subtle. We're here today.
The boys are back.
The boys, -1. We are missing Dane today. We have a bit of a skeleton crew. He's
and we have a bit of a skeleton because he's dead.
He's a corpse now. No, he's not going to be joining us today, but I, Jordan Miller, and Colter Potter. Colter Potter.
That's right.
We're going to be here today. We're going to be talking about movies, video games, pop culture, and world traveling. Mm-hmm. Among probably some other things, but probably this. I'm not going to say this is episode 38 because, again, this isn't a full episode without our point man, our anchor, Dane here. But we'll be back to regularly scheduled programming next week, hopefully.
Yeah,
we don't know.
I mean, we never know for sure.
We don't know. It's up in the air. He might not be. He might actually die. We don't know.
If one of us died, will we still continue? That's too harsh.
Yeah, we can find a dummy or something.
If I died, you guys would have to figure something out.
Listen,
you guys will record it on your iPhone, I guess.
I'm gonna learn how to edit a podcast real quick.
Yeah. You guys could do it, but you'd have to retread over a lot of old ground. People will be like, why did the podcast quality decrease?
Like, listen, we're not using a green screen anymore. We're also not using regular mics. We're just using iPhones at this point.
That's right.
All right. We're going to start off with Colter. The reason we didn't record our podcast last week is because Colter wasn't here. He was out traveling the world. What were you up to, bud?
I was becoming a more cultured boy. And I visited Paris. I went to France. A country that does not speak English. Got him. Yeah, so my brother, I don't know why, but he decided to speak French in high school. He made that decision.
He left English behind.
Yeah, he doesn't speak English.
He only speaks French now.
His name is Francois, and he's transitioned. Le Pew. No, but he spoke or learned French in high school, and then he wanted to do the study abroad program where you go to France and you live with a host family. A classic, what do they call that? Where you switch with another person. Oh, like a foreign exchange. Yeah, wife swap.
A foreign exchange student program.
Yeah, except we don't get anyone.
Yeah.
It's just a one-way agreement.
Preferable. Unless you would have would you have preferred someone like come? No, not at all. You don't want to experience like a French buddy and come hang out.
Yeah, are we giving them a gift or are we giving them a burden?
It depends on what you think of your brother. That's really rude to consider him that way, but
well, he's both. No, I'm just kidding.
Sorry, Chris.
Yeah, so I went to on his little break from school to hang out in Paris. Because he's not actually in Paris. He's in like southern France in a more rural area, but still a nice little town.
Wait, so he wasn't like in school any of the time you were there, or
no.
Okay.
He was on like basically spring break.
Okay,
so
cool.
Yeah, and so we went to Paris. Part of the reason why I came was because we decided to go to Disneyland Paris. And I'm a Disney boy.
Yeah, as followers now.
Yes, not mostly a Disney Parks boy. I like the movies, but I mean, I don't like the movies any more than your average.
Yeah.
Maybe a little more than your average Joe, but I'm not obsessed with it.
Yeah, you're not a Disney head.
Yeah, I'm definitely a Disney Parks head. So, yeah, I enjoyed that. So yeah, well, I also brought along my good friend. Should I name him? We never know whether to name our people, but
maybe
I'm not going to name him.
No last
matter.
name. I don't know how it would work.
Yeah, we'll call him K.
Okay, Kerm.
Kermie,
bud.
Kermie the Frog. Yeah. So my friend who has a very easy and high-paying job had the money to come with me. So
nice.
Well, I shouldn't say easy, but I feel like even in his own terms, he would call it easy. So I don't think that's overstepping any boundaries.
Every time I've talked to him about it, he seems very laid back about it, but I have the feeling that it's more complicated than he lets on, which is how you should present anything of the sort. So
yeah, he was like starting to explain it to me, and it was like getting a little more complicated as he was explaining it. But whenever he like just talks about it in like, you know, just casually, he just throws it out there like it's nothing.
Yeah.
He's like, I basically did nothing today. I waited for someone to tell me what to do, and they never did. But yeah, anyways, went with my friend and visited my brother while he was there. So I'm not really gonna, you know, break down every little thing, all right? But there were, you know, a lot of interesting things about overseas and speaking a different language. I didn't speak the language. Did I try?
Any problems?
Like the biggest problem for me was just anxiety. Like I didn't even want to. The biggest anxiety I have is like I don't want to order food because I'm like worried. I don't even know why I'm worried, but like
awkward.
Yeah, it's just awkwardness. I don't want to go up and be like, do you know how to speak English? That's just so bad. But my friend Kermit was like much more bold with like going up and just starting a conversation. Like there's some people that just don't care about that, and he's one of them. But the really nice thing was that Chris like speaks basically fluent French, so whenever like we had any problems whatsoever, he would just be like, oh, je ne peux pas dire. That's my French.
I'm sorry to any of our French listeners out there. That's apologies.
It wasn't good, but
that's useful to have someone who can.
It's extremely useful, and there were situations where like we might not have even bothered with something if he hadn't have like known. And it was interesting because we never even encountered like a scenario where he didn't know like something. It seemed like he was like basically able to just completely conversate with someone.
Everything. Nice.
Yeah. And we went to a restaurant where it was like a mom and pop shop, like a couple, like an old couple, like owned it.
Yeah.
And the female was like talking to him for like a really long time, just like struck up a conversation with him in French, and they were like talking for a super long time. So that was kind of interesting. It was like an Italian restaurant, like really close to the Arc de Triomphe, which is one of the big monuments there. Are you familiar?
Not familiar with the Arc de Triomphe. But
yeah, the Arc of Triumph. I think. So yeah, you'd recognize it if you saw it. It's basically like an archway with like two rectangular parts, and then there's an archway, but the top is flat. It's not like you know, a curved archway. The top is flat, and then the inner part is like curved. You can see a picture of it right here if you're watching the video version.
Wow, that looks great.
And then you can go like on top of it and like look all around. And the thing about how they designed it is that there's streets all converge on that one point, and there's like a circle of traffic around that monument.
Weird.
So there's a panoramic view in every direction, and there's like a street going super far, and then you look a little bit over, there's another street all the way 360 around the thing. So that's really cool.
That's cool.
Yeah, I got some cool, you know, panorama shots of it. Maybe I'll show one right here. Maybe not.
We don't know. I don't know until...
you certainly don't know.
I'm trusting you.
Yeah. Anything else interesting? I enjoyed the Louvre.
Okay. Did you see any cool artwork that worth mentioning? Or
I saw the Mona Lisa.
Okay.
The Mona Lisa. It wasn't like the busiest day ever, so it wasn't like insanely crowded.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure you've probably seen pictures of like basically cattle like packed like into
thousands of people, just like, all right, one person at a time, like prodding them along.
Yeah, there's like a sweatshop full, like body to body.
Yeah, that's not the environment I want to be in.
If I know you, I know that's correct.
I don't want to be anywhere near people.
I'm sorry, this is hard for you right now. But you're here with a frog, so it's okay.
With a frog and a frog.
That's right. But yeah, there were some cultures there that were okay with pushing in that little space. So that posed a little bit of a problem. But I did make it up there and like take my little photo and video and stuff like that.
Yeah. They allow like video and stuff in there? Okay.
Yeah, I think it's just no flash for
right.
pretty much like everything in the Louvre. Is like you can take pictures of like whatever you want, but just no flash.
Yeah.
And then like every museum I went to was like basically the same. It might be just the culture is a little different there, where like they just assume that they can take pictures of everything. I don't know.
Yeah, I know that's like a weird thing because when I was in Spain, like we went and visited some stuff, and there's definitely some places where they're like, "Hey, don't take pictures of this stuff when you're inside." But then there's other places that were the exact same as like the Louvre. It's like just don't have a flash on or something. But just weird.
Yeah. Oh, I had a bit going the whole time on Snapchat. I had a little, Snapchat comedy bit going on where I would look at like a famous landmark or something, and I would just zoom in on it and be like, "Oh, Dad! Oh, the Mona Lisa did," and then just like talk like that. And yeah, I thought it was kind of funny.
That seems funny. I didn't.
You didn't see
it. I don't have Snapchat.
Listen, I know you didn't see it because I looked at the list of viewers. Oh yeah, you don't have Snapchat, do you?
I do not.
The viewers are disappointed.
Yeah, they're just flooding in.
Yeah, no, they're disappointed. They wanted to see you on Snapchat.
I'm sorry, everyone.
Yeah. Listen,
if I had a Snapchat, I would have touted it at our plugs on every podcast. But
they're not gonna get any doke pokes from you. No. Yeah, so that's more or less it. Oh, as far as the food, I know people are always interested in the food situation. We should have like thought of like, or like looked up restaurants to go to, but we didn't really do that. We just kind of went to like whatever we saw. Yeah. And they have, some classic dishes such as steak frites.
Okay.
Didn't have it.
Okay.
Escargot. Didn't have it.
Okay.
Listen, people always want to know about escargot, and I probably should have had some, or at least one of us should have had some, and then like we shared it or whatever. But no one was ready to take the plunge.
Were they serving it at any of the places you went to?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. We did go to like a couple like basically Italian restaurants, and those were really good actually. Yeah. Probably because of their proximity to the real Italian
cuisine.
Yeah. The real Italian area of the world, aka Italy.
aka Italian. How many crepes did you eat?
I actually did eat
a
one.
lot.
Well, technically 2 crepes.
Crepe.
But it was just at one, like it was like a street vendor.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's better or worse than like a high quality.
When I was in France for a little bit, like we went. That's where I like ate. It was kind of cool. It was like underneath like this kind of like staircase, like under like a kind of like strip mall area. And I was like, okay, they're just like selling it, from their little vendor stall that they were at. It was pretty good. So
yeah, something.
It's hard to mess up a crepe, I'm sure. So
yeah, I actually hadn't ever had one, so I mean, I didn't love it.
Did you get a sweet one or a savory?
I got one sweet and one savory. The savory one I got was chorizo and like egg and cheese. Yeah. But I thought the chorizo was gonna be different. It was basically like salami, like sliced salami. It was like no different than that. So it wasn't that special because I didn't really want like a salami and cheese crepe.
But you got one anyways.
I got one anyways. It was fine. And then I got it was caramel and like sugar.
Yeah.
But a crepe, my dessert crepe was that. And then I tried that, and there was like, it tasted like they barely put any like caramel in it. And I was like, I'm an American. You're gonna need to like slather.
You're gonna
need
to put a lot of caramel,
and it's gonna need to have like sugar dusted all over it.
I want sugar inside out and in between.
Yeah, so it was basically just like bread with like a little bit of like sugar. So that was unfortunate. I feel like I struck out a little bit with food because I didn't love like anything I had.
Did you go to any fast food places?
Yes, we went to McDonald's. The first meal we had was French McDonald's.
Listen, that's just you gotta at least try McDonald's in like every country you go to.
I'm kind of annoyed when people are like, "Oh, you tried like fast food like in a different country." It's like
it's different.
It's different, and like there's tons of different menu items. It's like, why would I not do that?
At least like go in and be like, oh, that's a weird thing. Might as well at least look at that.
Yeah,
you know.
And the French menu at McDonald's is like completely different.
Yeah.
I don't have the menu on hand to tell you what it is.
You don't have it memorized.
I'm so sorry. But I got something called like the Chicago Supreme or something like that. It was basically just a burger like with I don't even remember. It was just a normal like double cheeseburger with lettuce. I'm sure it was like a fancy cheese like Gruyere or something like that.
Of course.
And then every burger, I didn't really like how anytime you get like a burger or like a grilled cheese or like a sandwich type situation, they would always put arugula instead of lettuce. Or like, I don't know for sure if it was arugula, but it was like mixed greens that were like a little too like weird.
Not lettucey.
Yeah, and because lettuce doesn't really taste like anything. It's just like crunch.
It's just lettuce.
Yeah, it's just like texture, which I enjoy. But yeah, they put arugula, and then there would always be like some weird like vinegary sauce, and it's like, I just want a cheeseburger like with lettuce.
I just want a bacon cheeseburger, man.
I just want an American ass burger.
Where's the Royale with cheese?
They
have a. Did you buy? Did you
I
get
think
a
there was a
Royale with
Royale.
cheese?
I didn't have one.
Oh.
I did have the McChicken. Now the McChicken in France is like $5 or something like that.
Is it a chicken hamburger? Is it a chicken burger?
Is it a chicken burger? No, it's not like that much special than ours. I don't know why it's like more expensive. I feel like because we got one in Canada when we went also, and it was more expensive there, and it came in its own little like box.
Oh yeah,
you know those
weird.
boxes that like folded open. I don't know why they put it in one of those.
Weird.
Yeah, so like everywhere else other than America, like,
I wonder what that says about our McChicken. So there's like, I just put it in a fucking paper and just ship it out the door.
Yeah,
get out of here, McChicken.
I think that the French one, it was like more all like white meat, like chicken. Like the chicken was like probably a lot higher quality. Yeah, and then when you look at the American one, when you like take a bite, you look in there and you're like, oh no,
it's technically chicken.
Yeah, there's like a lot of dark meat in there.
Yeah,
and there's probably gizzards and
but it's still delicious.
Toenails.
There's chicken nails in there.
Yeah. They're
beaks,
like
eyeballs.
They have gross ass talons or something like that.
You just buy a McChicken. There's just a talon inside there.
Excuse me. There's a little too much talon in this.
Excuse me. There's a talon inside my McChicken.
Speaking of talon, we got more Overwatch coverage. We don't.
There's no Overwatch.
There's no coverage.
Zero Overwatch coverage. Sorry, guys.
So yeah, that was more or less it. Oh, we also went to Quick, a like fast food restaurant that they don't have here in America. It's just called Quick. There might be no C. It might just be Q-U-I-K. I'm not sure.
I was gonna say like I imagined it without a C for some reason. I was like, yeah, fast food,
like,
Quick.
That'll do.
It's a K. Mm-hmm. What they serve there is just like a regular.
Yeah, it was basically just a regular burger place along the lines of maybe like a Jack in the Box.
Okay.
And I got they called it a quick box, which is a misnomer because it wasn't quick. It took a little while. It took longer than like anything else to come out. Nor was it a box. It was a box.
Oh, okay.
So it was. They have this like cheese trio bites where it's like just little fried bites of cheese, but there's like 3 different cheeses, of course, because it's France. There's like Gruyere, Fontina, and mozzarella. Mozzarella. And
mozzarella.
Then in the box, there was that, which is already great. And then it comes with wings, chicken wings.
Okay. This place sounds great.
You're happy with that.
This place sounds
fried
great.
Chicken. And then there was little like fillets of like boneless chicken.
Oh, cool.
Which those were kind of crappy. They were like badly they tasted worse than like chicken fingers that you buy frozen. So that was unfortunate. But the cheese were really good, and the wings were pretty good too.
Nice.
Kermit got a quick and tasty. The reason we even went there. Excuse me. The reason we even went there in the first place was because my homie Kermit saw a advertisement in the subway. Like they had a ton of ads in the subway for the Quick and Tasty, which was like basically just a burger with gross ass like arugula, of course, and then a weird like red vinegary sauce.
Just trying to imagine like why or what that is. And
I want to like bring up a picture of that. It might not. That might not be a quick thing, but got him quick.
Might not be quick and tasty.
Yeah. I guess I'll do that after this, but yeah, it was all right. I would have gotten like more food to like try, but we went there on the day when my brother wasn't around, so it was
I was gonna ask actually, like, were there any other times where you went with just like you and Kermit and didn't have?
There was only one day where my brother wasn't there, and the like one full day, and then the day when we went to the airport, my brother wasn't there, so we had to like, I actually had to bust out the one phrase that I heard you need to know, which is I don't speak French, which is je ne parle pas français. Which I don't know how you say. It's like Parle, and I don't think you say parlay. I think you just say like parle, like parle. Je ne parle pas français. So yeah, I did bust that out one or two times, and after that they did know what I was trying to say, or they did just switch to English like after I said that. So they're like, oh, sorry, and then they would apologize even though like I didn't say a word. So, like,
you've done nothing.
I started with bonjour, so like they thought I was like down to speak French, and I'm just a white male, so it's not like
you could be French, I don't know.
That's true, I could be French. I am French.
You're French. You know perfect French.
Pardon my French, but I'm French.
I do remember when I was in France, we like went and stopped. Like these people were like going to like some sort of bakery or something to get food. I was like, oh, okay, I'll go in there with you guys and get. I just want to like buy like a soda. I was like, I saw a Diet Coke in their thing. And I was like, hey, like sorry, I don't speak French, whatever. Can I get a Diet Coke? And the guy behind the counter just looked at me like he had no idea what I was talking about. I was like, the Diet Coke, and he grabbed a Coke and grabbed a regular Coke. I was like, no, like the silver like. One, the Diet Coke. He's like, oh, you mean Coke Light? And I was like, what?
Coke Light.
And like in France, like all the Coke bottles are not called Diet Coke, they're just called Coke Light. And that's why that guy, he just had no idea what I was talking about. I was like, oh, I had no idea.
Yeah, I heard they also call it Coca
Light.
They don't, like, I asked my brother if they say Coke, and he was like, no, I think they usually say Coca, which I think they also do in Mexico. But
Coca-Cola.
Yeah, it makes sense. Also, the other thing is that all beverages cost a ton of money. Like at a restaurant, and it's not refillable or anything like that.
That was like one of the biggest changes. It was like, first of all, I think in France it was a little different, but in Spain, like they charge you for the water. So they don't just give you tap water. And so like, it's like, okay, well, I either have to pay for water, pay for one soda, which isn't that much. Like whenever I would get it, it'd be like it's not even like a full like a 6-ounce bottle. It's like, okay, here's like an 8-ounce bottle, but also we're not going to fill it up all the way because there's ice in your cup. So it's like, okay, well, you're robbing me dry of my money.
You're robbing me dry. My brother did say that, and we did end up doing this. You can ask for like a carafe of tap water, and they'll give you that. But so like if you order like a Coke, it'll be like $4.50 or like $5, and then they'll give you like at one place it was literally a can of Coke, €5, and I was like, that's unacceptable.
Like, that's wild.
Which in dollars is like $6 or something like that.
It's not nice, but
it's not acceptable in any way, shape, or form. And then there's this thing in Paris apparently, because we saw it at more than one place, where after like 10 p.m. they'll charge $1 more for everything on the menu, which is silly. And is like a little fine print thing that'll just fuck you. And it's got to be like a tourist trap thing.
That's so like like there's no other reason to do this. Like, oh, we're just gonna like there's no like valid like understandable reason. It's like, oh, we just want more money after 10 o'clock, I guess.
We're just gonna take advantage of it.
Like, you're coming here kind of late. Like, it's not that late, but you pay the price, pay the toll. And
we only figured out after we got the bill, of course.
After you got like a $7 Coke, you're just like, what the fuck?
It was literally €6, aka like $7.25
like
dollars
for
almost
a bottle.
as much as my meal.
For a can.
A can.
Yeah, not a bottle, a can of Coke.
That's nutty.
That is nutty. That's a nutty boomer of a situation.
I was upset. But there's nothing that could be done.
Yeah.
I needed Coke.
You had to get
Coca.
That's the other thing. There's like, I guess they just don't drink that much soda, I guess. Maybe they're just sticking with water. Coffee.
They drink like many types of beverages because they don't like drink water like by itself as much, I guess. But I guess they're just like, they have their wine list or whatever, and then they're like, okay, well, I guess all the beverages are just going to be basically like that same
like
high ass price. Yeah. So yeah, that was an experience. I definitely have more stuff to say about it once Dane gets back.
Yeah.
I might do a little segment. I thought of doing a neat little segment called 10 Weird Things About France from an American Perspective.
Not a clickbait article.
Exactly. Which I could clip out and then post as its own video.
Okay.
And we're just talking strategy for Not So Subtle as a brand right now, guys.
This is a brand meeting. Please don't listen in.
This is a staff meeting. So yeah,
right,
fun times. I wouldn't say I'd go back. Unless my brother is like going, then maybe I'd go with him.
Yeah.
I didn't really talk about Disneyland, but I mean, it was fun. It was it's pretty similar to American regular Disneyland, not Disney. I guess it's a little like Disney World because there's more room than Disneyland, and the Main Street buildings are all like super tall, like the Florida like plantation buildings or whatever. So yeah.
I guess before we get off this topic, like, what's the biggest difference between Disneyland Paris and like regular Disneyland or Disney World?
So there's a couple things. The biggest like visual difference besides the castle, like the castle is really big. You can go below it, you can go into it, you can go like onto the upper floors and stuff like that. So that's really cool. It's still not the biggest one because in Shanghai they have like a Shanghai park that is the most recent park, and their castle is just enormous. So yeah, that's the biggest one, but this one's like the biggest at the time or whatever, and so you can go all through it, which is cool. One of the biggest flaws of the Disneyland park is like you can't even really like there's a corridor through it, and then there's actually
tiny rooms.
Little known fact, you can go like up into the castle through a little doorway, and there's and there's a little storybook situation about Sleeping Beauty.
Oh yeah.
And like you see little scenes from it as you like walk through this like dark corridor, which is kind of cool, but it's no match for the Paris or the Shanghai. Cool. And there is a dragon in the basement or the underground, and it looks like a Maleficent type dragon.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah. The other thing that's the biggest difference is that Tomorrowland is called Discoveryland, and it is like steampunk themed, basically. Like Jules Verne, like 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea type of
Treasure Island.
Yeah. And the Space Mountain is like all steampunk from the outside, but it still looks like the facade of Space Mountain from Disneyland, which is really cool.
It's cool.
The thing also about Space Mountain is that it's a real roller coaster with like corkscrews and like 360 no scopes.
Yeah, 360 no scopes.
MLG status. And it has like a fat trap beat going over it the whole time, and air horns. No, but it was pretty fun, but the harness for some reason was like really painful. You know when you like get into a roller coaster and you're like, wow,
strap in. You're like,
this is not comfortable. Hopefully it'll save my life, but it's not comfortable. That was one of those.
The worst is when it doesn't save your life, and then you just sat through that for no reason.
You just sat through that to die.
It's like, God, this sucks. Like, nothing about that was good.
The last 5 minutes of your life are just in complete pain. The worst is when you don't survive. I think there's a story of, this might be fake, but I think there's a story of regular Space Mountain where like a kid somehow got off of the ride, like maybe the ride stopped or something, and then he was able to climb out into the complete darkness.
I've heard this story. Yeah,
you've heard that.
Yeah.
And then like, I don't know, he was able to get back in, maybe.
I feel like I've heard various versions of that story. One was like he got out and then like someone got hit, like he got hit by the roller coaster.
Yeah, that might be.
Or he got out and like just was like wandering around the darkness.
Yeah, that's insane.
Because it's pitch black inside there, so like
is.
that would be pretty like creepy to like walk around under there. So
yeah, he must have, maybe he got out like on one of the lower areas, because if you get out just like on the track, you fall into an abyss.
I'd have no
die.
one knows how deep that is too. Like when you're like, it's just like, it could be 300 feet or it could be like 2 feet off the ground. It's like, I have no idea.
Yeah,
it's just pitch black.
Terrifying. Area.
That's a horrifying thought now that I think about it.
We got in the front of that car a couple times, and it's terrifying in Space Mountain when you're doing that, because you're like, you can kind of see like the metal facade like flying past you above your head, and you're like,
what's happening?
One of these is gonna just hit me.
If it just moves.
Like my head is about 5 inches from a steel beam at any given time. But when you actually like, I'm sure if the lights were on, you'd be like, this is just a normal roller coaster.
This is perfectly safe in here.
Yeah. But yeah, tangential. Everything else is pretty much, the
Similar.
same. Yeah.
All right.
Not quite as charming as Disneyland, but still quite.
Still
I'll go to any
cool.
Disney park.
Yeah, I would like to visit one not inside the U.S. I think that'd be cool. But
yeah, you should probably go to one of the Asian ones, because they're a lot more different,
much more higher budget on them. I'm assuming so.
A little bit. And
bigger, better.
At Tokyo, they have something called Tokyo Disney Sea, which the whole park is kind of like aquatic themed.
Oh.
And some people, that's like their favorite park in the world.
Wow.
So. My friend Kermit went there when he was in Tokyo.
I mean, Kermit's just getting all the cool stuff.
Yeah, he is. It's part of that job situation we were talking about earlier. Kermit.
Kerm. All right. Shall we move on?
Yeah. Listen, we talked about that enough.
Yeah, we did. Not that I didn't enjoy it. I like hearing about our travels to other places, but we're going to talk about some movies. We aren't going to be talking about our Wacky Film, which I believe is the following. We didn't watch that because Dane isn't with us. We will
check the time here.
Respond. We will watch it next week, hopefully. But this week, I think Colter mentioned that you had watched a couple movies on the plane trip, as people usually do.
A classic situation. I could have watched way more movies.
You could have watched probably some more recent movies, but the ones that you did watch...
Well, Ingrid Goes West is a somewhat recent movie.
Okay, that's one of the movies you've watched.
Yeah. I guess I can talk about that real quick. So Ingrid Goes West is kind of a film festival, like indie type movie, and it stars Aubrey Plaza.
Okay.
Are you familiar with her?
Yeah, Parks and Rec, is that right?
I think so. Oh yeah, like Chris Pratt's like girlfriend or whatever.
Is that Aubrey Plaza?
I think so.
Maybe I could be wrong.
Like,
I know who she is.
Her attitude is just completely like, she doesn't care. Like she's like a teenager that like rolls her eyes at everything. But she's not a teenager. She's a full-grown woman. And that's kind of her. She plays that same kind of role in this. But the plot is that she has some like mental problem where she'll like stalk people on Instagram. So she'll like find someone's Instagram profile and just delve in so deep, and like she wants to become friends with like them in real life. It's basically just a story of a female stalker on Instagram.
That's a modern take on a stalker story if I've ever heard one.
Yeah. So the beginning of it is she goes to her friend's wedding. She crashes it because she wasn't invited, but she saw all the posts on Instagram, so she knew it was happening. And so she goes there and is like, I can't believe you didn't invite me, you bitch. Wow. And then like throws like water on it. Oh no, I think she pepper sprays her.
Jesus.
And so then the cops like arrest her and she goes to rehab and stuff like that. But then obviously as soon as she gets out, she's like looking at Instagram again.
Back to her old shit.
Yeah, she needs to get Instagram taken away. She just needs her phone taken away.
Like, just delete Instagram and never install it again.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
That's the heart of the movie, is just don't look at your phone. No one like
needs to
figured that out.
Yeah.
No one was like,
I just don't understand what to do. It's like, well, I could show you right now.
It's like cyberbullying. Whenever you like see stuff about that, it's like, just close the laptop.
Like, just shut it.
Like
Done.
Anything about cyber stuff, just turn it off. Yeah, so she finds a new like subject, this girl from California who's like the perfect, Cali girl who just like goes to boutique shops and just like, gets her hair done and like eats good food and like has a cute boyfriend and like all this stuff, has the perfect life supposedly. So she decides, also her mom died like in the beginning. We didn't see her die or anything, but she recently died, and then so she got like this huge inheritance check. So she uses all the money to move to LA and then basically stalk this girl.
Listen, there's a lot of problems with that.
So it's an interesting movie. It's basically just all about how far she'll go to stalk this girl, and it's the only thing on her mind throughout the entire movie.
Is it tense, or is it like a drama or a thriller, or what?
It's like, one of these quirky indie movies where it's like a dark comedy.
Okay.
Where like you're supposed to like somehow gain comedy from her like going to these ridiculous lengths, because she's not like trying to hurt her.
Okay.
She just wants to be her friend. So basically, like, at first what happens is she is going to all the same places that she posts on her Instagram, and then eventually she inserts herself into her life by stealing her dog, and then when they do like a wanted poster or whatever, like a lost dog poster, she obviously returns the dog, but then she strikes up a conversation with them and like inserts herself into her life.
She's a sociopath.
And then it goes from there. Yeah, she's certainly a sociopath in the truest sense. And so, yeah, my review of the movie is that it was interesting, and being in this era, like, it's automatically interesting to me because like Instagram is timely and whatnot.
Like Facebook's like stalking,
quote,
unquote.
Yeah.
Like, we've all been there, done that. Not to that degree, hopefully.
Yeah, we've all imagined like you could actually stalk someone, like really bad.
Listen, I don't know from experience, but I'm sure it's doable.
I'm sure you could stalk a man or a woman, or another.
Anyone.
Yeah, so I didn't think it satisfied me as much as I wanted it to. And I feel like with that kind of movie, it needs to keep you guessing, and it needs to go to places where you're like, oh shit, like what's going on? This is insane. And it never got like unpredictable or so crazy that I was like, wow, I can't believe this. At least for me. It did, get to some like interesting heights. It wasn't just completely, obvious what was going to happen, but I was never like, super surprised or like enthused by anything that was happening.
Did you laugh?
I don't think I laughed. I may have laughed like one time, but it was probably a blow air out my nose situation. It probably wasn't even like a full laugh. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and the dark comedy stuff like that is super hit and miss for me.
Yeah.
Because when it's true like black comedy, I almost never laugh. And we've seen a lot of like black comedy stuff on the Wacky Film List.
Yeah.
The Wacky Film List is our list of films that we want to watch, and we pick one randomly each week. We didn't watch one this week because our boy Dane wasn't here, but we will be watching it next week, hopefully. We picked the following. I think it's just following.
I think it's following, yeah.
Yeah. I think you explained some of that earlier, but anyways. Yeah, so I didn't love it, but it was very interesting and unique.
Okay.
So any artsy, people may enjoy this movie. I feel like Dane might have enjoyed it.
I'll keep it in my mind. Don't know if I'll jump out to watch it, but
yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Do you want to talk about your little thing?
Yeah, I know you watched another movie, but I'll start with what I watched. So, like, I think this was last week. I was just kind of... I was waiting for
the world to change.
Yeah, well, I'm always doing that. But later in this podcast, we're going to talk about video games. One of them I'm going to talk about is Yakuza 6. But I was waiting for it to finish downloading. I was like, okay, well, this is like Monday night or whatever. I was like, I'm just going to watch a movie. I was like, it had like 2.5 hours until it was done. I was like, oh, okay, well, I'll just watch, like, I'll watch a movie. That seems like a good amount of time.
I'll watch Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, I'll watch part of Lord of the Rings, extended edition. But no, I was like, all right, I'll go on Netflix and see what's on here. And I had read an article like a couple weeks more before I sat down to watch whatever movie I was going to watch. And I was like, oh, I remember this sci-fi 20 like cool sci-fi films that are like on Netflix. One of them was Okja, which is from the guy who directed Snowpiercer, which is a pretty interesting action thriller sci-fi not cyberpunk, kind of steampunkish, weird movie. Big fan of it. So I saw that his name was on this one as well. I was like, okay, I'll give it a watch. And what it was about was, if you see it on Netflix, you'll kind of understand partially what it's about, but the start of the film begins with a kind of like this corporate meeting. It's like this big like presentation, and the presenter is like, it's very like stylized at the start. There's a bunch of like really like well animated like slideshow things happening, and like PowerPoint type presentations of this, people going like, hunger is destroying the world, like we're running out of food, blah blah blah. And it's not like, it's modern times, but also it seems kind of like a weird like alt history, because it's not quite the same ish. There's something like off about it. But these people in this corporation have essentially created what they call super pig, which is the
Spider pig.
It's spider pig. No, it's a giant like pig that they're like, we're gonna create this giant pig. We're gonna send it out to 10 farmers around the world, and they're gonna try to like create this like the biggest pig. And then in 10 years, we're gonna come back and we're gonna see who has like the best looking giant super pig. And this is their idea for starting to create these pigs to solve the world hunger problem. Like, okay, like this is like
the movie's called Big Pig.
Yeah, it's called Okja Big Pig. No, it's just called Okja. And so then it jumps to
Pack 2 Guns.
It's called Pack 2 Guns, goes on a rampage with 2 super pigs. The movie jumps 10 years in the future to one of the characters.
This is a whirlwind adventure.
I mean, it's that is like, there's nothing.
Setup.
Yeah, that's the setup. Now we're like in normal times, like, well, 10 years in the future, I guess. But this girl is taking care of this pig. They're in Korea, like in the mountains, like in the farmlands, growing this giant pig, which like, it looks decent. It's obviously like pretty like done CGI, but like there's the rest of the movie is like a bunch of just like scenic landscapes in like Korea, and then there's like some city stuff. But the movie does turn into like this, like not political, but it's trying to make a message about like the food and like the use of like cows and like animals, and that kind of thing. It's like, oh, here's like these food farms and how these animals are being treated. So it gets kind of political in that kind of way, which I'm not a super big fan of that, because I don't think it does that well. Like, it seems like it hits you over the head with it a lot, where it's like, look at this like farm where they're killing all these pigs and stuff. And it's like, yeah, like I get it. Like, everyone kind of understands like this is the way it is. Like, the movie doesn't offer any good idea to solve that. It's just like, this is like fucked up and like bad. It's like, yeah. I get it, like that's fine, but
if you're an adult, you kind of have come to terms with like
you either
huge farms.
You either understand
cows.
that, or you are. If you had no idea what was happening, you watch this movie, you'd be like, what? Like, this is wild, but it's like, it's nothing new, but it is like they use that to like some good effect of like the girl's pig gets taken from her, because the whole plan at the start was that they were to grow these pigs up nice and big, and then bring them back and have like this pageant, and then everyone would see these pigs and be happy for them. But the girl doesn't want that.
Were they not going to kill him and eat him?
Not like, they weren't presenting it like that. Like, the corporation is obviously trying to like show its really good face, like, oh, we're just having this pageant for all these pigs, like, look what we did, they're all great, like, this is the next, like, this is the big thing in the world now. But at that point, like, they make it seem like there's only these 10 pigs being grown, but really there's like factories and like farms just like pumping these pigs out because they're like genetically modified or whatever, this like weird science shit behind it. But yeah, it's basically the story is about her trying to like reunite with the giant pig that gets taken, and like it's a whirlwind adventure for her. She gets caught up with like this animal terrorist group that like it's bizarre. Like, none of it makes.
Movie is wild.
It is wild. Like, the dude, she meets up with this terrorist group. I guess they're not a terrorist group. They're an animal rights group. No, they're an animal rights group, quote unquote. But they do like some like there's so
extremist PETA.
Yeah, basically, yeah. And so they have this insane plan to find the pig, hook up like this like weird computer thing to its ear because this is the future. It's collecting like its like stats, you know, about like its weight and its health data and stuff like that. They're gonna do that by connecting their own device into its ear, and then like apparently that's like a camera that they can use to like scout like things out with it, and like it's just none of it makes a lot of sense. Or just like, this is like, why are they doing this to this pig? Why do they like give a shit about this at all? And like it's just bizarre, but it is kind of like cool
big
to see
pig
her.
rights.
Honestly, the message part of it is the worst because it gets in the way of a lot of what the movie like is cool with, like the weird corporate like mystery that's happening, and like their kind of like cover up stuff is going on. But
so is it about the like girl?
It's about her journey, like trying to get her pig back basically, and like bring her back to Korea.
How does the like extremist group factor in with her?
When the company,
or is that a spoiler?
I mean, not really. When the company is trying to take all these pigs back, she doesn't want that, and so she goes like she's trying to go to the company to take it back, or to find it at least, or do something. You know, she doesn't really know what she's doing. And then this animal group knows
Sounds
about.
Sounds like a great movie. She has no clue what.
Well, I mean, she's like a young kid. Like she's like I'm just gonna go to the company and like try to get my pig back or whatever. But this animal rights group, they know about this whole like scheme that this company is doing, and so they're trying to steal the pig themselves. And what their idea is, they're gonna get this pig and then use the camera that they're like attaching to it to kind of get some inside information on like the fucked up farms that they're using and like the animal cruelty that they're doing, and then they're gonna throw it in the company's face. She gets caught up in that because she's like, that's her pig that they take and try to do that with, and so they're all stuck together. But yeah, it's kind of interesting. I don't know if I would really recommend the movie at all, because it's not like, there's nothing like really worthwhile out of it. Like, you're not getting a good story. Like the story itself is like really dumb. Like the pig like gets like taken by the corporation and she tries to find it. Like, there's nothing to care about in the movie at all.
Yeah, it's really weird.
But I think what's his name?
Who like thought this was like their who wrote this movie and was like, yes, this is my dream.
I don't know, like
life.
And I don't know why the guy from Snowpiercer, like why this was his next step. Like Snowpiercer is like an actually really good film. Like it's super cool and like stylized, like has like a decent story and like a really like interesting like stuff going on. This is like none of that. Like
this is his dream film,
I guess. Like this just
is, what do you call it? Something project. This
is his magnum opus.
Yeah.
I don't know.
The
like,
Citizen Kane.
Yeah, this is his Citizen Kane. I don't know. There's just like, it just seemed like a step back. I was like, I was hoping for like an interesting, like sci-fi-ish take on, you know, not sci-fi, but I don't know, just like kind of like cyber-ish, like take on this corporation doing stuff. But it's just about this pig trying to like escape its captivity and the girl trying to get back to it. Like none of that plays out like in an interesting way. And like the end, I'm just going to spoil it because no one should watch this movie, really. It's not that great. Well. But the end is, the pig is obviously gets taken to one of these farms, and it gets up to like one of the things where like they kill the pig and then they like send its body down the conveyor belt or whatever to like, get chopped up. The pig that she like, Okja, is in the thing and is about to be killed. And she's like, no, stop. And the CEO of the corporation is hunting these people because they broke into this farm. And she's like, well, like, I'm not going to not kill the pig. Like, it's money. Like, if I don't kill that pig, I'm not going to make money. And so the girl, at the very start of the movie, she is living with her grandfather in the hills of Korea, like in the farmland. And because
he's... this whole thing in Korean?
Yeah. Well, no, her character is Korean, my grandpa's Korean, but there's English, like, spoken throughout the other characters, like the corporation, stuff like that. There's actually some like high profile actors, like Jake Gyllenhaal is in it for some reason. He plays a shitty, like,
Wasn't
terrible.
he in Snowpiercer? Or maybe
was he the main character in Snowpiercer? I can't remember.
I thought maybe it was like Chris Evans or something.
It might be. It's one of those actors is like a big star in it, but
a cute boy.
Yeah, one of the nice boys is one of the actors in there. But anyways, at the start of the film, because the grandpa is like the actual owner of the pig, and then the company comes takes it, they give him some money, and he uses it to buy like this golden pig as like a memory of the pig that got him all the like the fame and the money, and so he has this like gold like solid gold pig. The girl apparently has this in her pocket the entire time, or this little like fanny pack with her. She has it in there the entire time. At the end of the film, she's like, okay, I'm just gonna buy the pig from you then. It's like, okay, so the entire message of this movie then is that, oh, money actually is the only answer to the problem, and you just bought the pig at the end of the movie. Like, none of the other pigs get saved, they're all gonna get killed, and you just bought your pig. It's just like
wait, so she buys the pig and they just have a transaction?
Yeah, so they literally, at the end of the film, the CEO and she's like, it's so fucking stupid. She's sitting there in this farm where all these pigs or the factory where all the pigs are being killed. She takes out this gold like little figurine. She
takes
out
her wallet.
She basically she has it in her hand, and then she just says like, she's like, I'm gonna buy the pig, and then throws it at the CEO like on the ground. I was like, first of all, like I hope this is just like a grenade and she like kills the CEO or something, but it's not. It's just a gold pig, and the CEO's just like great doing business with you or some shitty line like that, and then you buy the pig and walk out. I was just like,
no. And then what?
And then that's the end of the movie.
No.
They get the pig, and she brings Okja home, and they live a happily ever. They live happily ever after. All the other animals are still being killed. Like, it's just like, what? Like,
why didn't she just do that from the beginning?
Exactly. Like, I don't know, because the message of that movie like gets so like muddled up by the end. I was just like, that was like stupid. Like, it was dumb. But
this sounds like a fever dream. I'm gonna need to watch the trailer.
It's more straightforward. Like, the trailer will probably explain a lot to you. Like, it's a straightforward film, but like, it's just not like, there's nothing to it. Like, it was just like, some parts are kind of interesting, but it's just not worth it.
Yeah, my brain melted listening to that.
Honestly, I was like, if there was just at least some sort of payoff at the end, I would have been a little happy with what happened like during the film. But the way that it ends, I was just like, if the message that you're trying to point out is like, hey, like, capitalism is like abusing these animals, like, this is bad, and then the end of the movie is like, oh, actually capitalism is the answer, and I'm just gonna buy my pig and fuck you. Like, it's like, well, you just bought into their system again. Like, the CEO gets paid, but like, no one wins right there. That's like such a stupid end. Like,
so weird.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
But yeah, and if you want to see a movie, it's also rated. Rated like a mature film, or like rated R based on Netflix or whatever. I was like, okay, like, this is weird, but there's not a whole lot. I was hoping that the animal, like the pig, was gonna go on some like murderous rampage or something, but nothing like that happens. Kind of interesting. Yeah, I was like, is the pig gonna fight back? Not really. Like, nothing really happens.
Wow.
It's a wild film. There is some like,
I've been enlightened.
Yeah. Like, it is like a cool looking film, because they're up in like the Korean like mountains, and that was kind of a cool thing. And they do some like stuff in Seoul, like in the city, but other than that, like, not a whole lot going on for that. So
wow. I went on a journey.
Okja.
Nice. All right. Well, I saw a second film, and it was a film that most people have already seen, and it's called Independence Day.
Let's go.
Have you seen this film
all
the way through? I assumed so. So yeah, I had never watched it all the way through. I knew the Will Smith line, "Welcome to Earth," sometimes stylized as "Welcome to Earth," because supposedly people thought he said that. He absolutely didn't. Yeah, it's not even ambiguous.
Normal, perfectly spoken.
That's right. He says, "Welcome to Earth," straight up. Anyways, that's the smallest thing about the movie that I just went into right away. Yeah, so I don't think I need to explain the movie to anyone, but aliens come down, and they're really strong, and we're not sure whether they're going to kill us all. And we've got this huge like ensemble cast, all in different areas of is it Washington D.C., I guess?
I think so.
Yeah, I guess so, because they're close enough to the White House to like meet up with them or something like that. So yeah, we've got the president, we've got like a military guy, we've got a Jewish family of two. One of them is Jeff Goldblum, and his dad, I guess. Do you remember who that actor is for his dad? I thought maybe it was a guy from The Godfather. Like,
I don't remember. It's been a long time since I've seen the movie, but
I can't remember what his name is. But yeah, it's hammered home that they're Jewish. They talk about that quite a bit.
Yeah.
Which is kind of funny. That guy, the dad, was hilarious. I'm not gonna lie. So yeah, and then we have like, the least interesting one is the pilot, the drunk pilot who was in Vietnam, and now he's a crop duster in like a plane.
Yeah.
But he's drunk all the time. So he's like a terrible father. And then there's these kids who are like his kids. I didn't even realize till the very end that they were his kids. I thought they were just kids in the town, because they were like, there's a part where he lands in the wrong spot, like in the wrong farm.
Yeah.
And then the guy who turns out to be his son, which I didn't know, rides by on his bike. He's like, wow, idiot, you landed on the wrong farm or something like that. And then he's just like, oh. And then
I'm drunk. Sorry.
Yeah. So yeah, that was really weird. And then all of them like come together over the course of the movie. But yeah, that's just something weird about the movie that I wanted to point out. This huge ensemble cast that they felt the need to like put all together. Yeah, and so the aliens are there, and we're not sure if they're hostile or not, so we try to like communicate, but then they just end up fucking us up. They destroy the White House. They destroy like LA and New York.
Everything gets blown up.
Like every significant part of the US gets blown up in one shot. It's like, oh, is the Earth even like worth saving at this point? Everything good is gone. I guess Seattle maybe still remains.
It might have survived.
That's great how Seattle is like B-tier city in America, so it wouldn't be the first to get like nuked, hopefully.
It's coming up though.
It's definitely on like it's B tier.
Eventually it's going to reach the point where like when they're like, all right, they're going to knock out the major points in the US, like Seattle will be up there eventually.
Yeah,
it's going to get
like
there.
Number, like what number would you say it is on the list?
Like 7.
Yeah, I'd say it's like around 7. Yeah, I'm not going to try to list them all out.
No, neither am I. It's 7. it's a good solid 7.
It's definitely number 3 for me in terms of like most important cities in my opinion in America.
That I would agree with that. I mean, there's we don't have to go into this, but there are like places in, you know, California, New York, obviously. But
yeah, I feel like it's New York, California, or California, New
like
York,
LA,
Los Angeles,
San Francisco, those kind of.
I guess
places,
yeah,
but
San Francisco is like also really high on the list. Anyways, they destroy everywhere worth a damn, and then we're like, okay, we're gonna need to figure this out. So Jeff Goldblum and Will Smith and the president team up to
star-studded ensemble.
That's right, the President Trump.
This movie was very
recent, weirdly. Yeah, it was just Trump before he even got elected. It was The Simpsons. No, but yeah, so they team up to do a counter-offensive, and it turns out that they, I guess, this is kind of like, it's like halfway through the movie, but I mean, it came out a long time ago, so whatever. They have a Roswell, like from Roswell, they have a ship.
Yeah.
Like that is from the same alien species.
It crash landed.
And they didn't tell the president, so it's like, it's not like we like, or the Jewish dad was like, you guys, come on, you guys saw this coming, right? Like, you remember Roswell? You guys like covered that up or whatever, right? And then the president's like, no, okay, obviously we didn't like cover it up. Nothing happened with Roswell. And then one of the president's advisors is like, well,
sir,
that's not entirely correct.
Let me get you on the phone.
And then
with...
it's like, what? So then they travel to Area 51 and like, there's a alien spaceship there, and they use that to execute the whole counteroffensive.
Order 66.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's basically, I think people credit it as like the first blockbuster, like summer blockbuster movie. And it definitely lives up to that because it's kind of silly and there's a lot of one-liners, and like it's a star-studded action movie affair. And yeah, I think it lived up to that. There's not a lot of CG, which works in its favor. There definitely is CG, but it's like There's a lot of practical effects too. So yeah, I definitely think it worked. It definitely is silly, and it has that element of summer blockbusters where you have to turn your brain off a little bit and just kind of like have fun. But yeah, I enjoyed it.
Cool.
Did you, how do you feel about that movie?
Like I said, I haven't watched it in a long time, but I remember thinking it basically the same as like it's
lit.
an enjoyable, you know, like it's a fun time. Like Independence Day is a good film, good movie. It's like it's popcorn movie, and like it's just a fun watch. Like it's a nice action movie, you know. It's
Will Smith was like so charismatic in that role.
Yeah.
I was a little disappointed that it wasn't just about him.
Yeah.
So
I could agree with that. I feel like in most of the movies he's in, he does a great job of being like the main, like charismatic person, barring some exceptions. But
did you ever see The Pursuit of Happiness?
I did. I have seen, actually, I feel like I haven't seen all Pursuit of Happiness, but
neither have
watched
I.
it on TV at one point, I think.
Yeah, same. That movie I feel like is on TV a lot.
Yeah.
But that's like, I'm pretty sure that's like the saddest movie
It's
ever.
depressing as hell.
Yeah, I only watched some of it, but I was like, wow, this is
There's like
horrible.
I think it's from Pursuit of Happiness. There's like a really good gif of Will Smith, of him just like having just like tears in his eyes and like just crying like horribly. It's like it's such a good picture.
Yeah. I like how in Independence Day though, he's like kind of his what's that show he did? Fresh Prince. Yeah, he's kind of like there's an element of his Fresh Prince persona mixed with, you know, like a serious
I feel like that's
adult.
when he's still like young enough that he still was like coming off of that as like his like main role, because that could have been like I feel like Independence Day wasn't that far after that show was either done.
It must not have been.
So he was probably still kind of, you know, in that phase.
Yeah.
Which makes sense. But
yeah, so that was like prime Will Smith, unless you really like serious Will Smith.
Unless you really like Pursuit of Happiness, which
unless you really
can't
like
imagine
depression.
that many people enjoyed it. But.
Yeah, but I Am Legend, I mean, he's not really very silly in that at all.
No, but he's a commanding presence, I feel like, in that movie. He's a good actor in that movie.
Yeah, I definitely think he's a really good actor because he's really easily able to get serious and emotional, and he's a funny man.
And he can be lighthearted.
Yeah, he's one of the boys.
He's one of the nice boys in a big action movie.
He's one of them cute boys. Yeah.
Cool.
So yeah, I enjoyed that. It's a long movie, actually. It's like 2.5 hours.
Wow. I didn't remember that, but wild.
Also, I was talking about those kids of the drunkard. One of them looks exactly like Keanu Reeves, and I don't know for sure that's him. And he talks exactly like him, too.
I feel like... How old are the kids, though? Because I feel like if they're...
They're like... the oldest one looks like he's late teens... Or not late teens, sorry. Like somewhere between like 18 and 25.
Is that the one that looks like Keanu Reeves? Because
yeah,
that might. I feel like he would still be a little older then, because The Matrix was like out around that point too. So.
Oh yeah, he couldn't have been like
he was
too young,
too old for that.
Let me just find it real quick.
I'm gonna
just
go on a limb
silence
and say it wasn't him.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it wasn't him either, but I just want to know for sure. The main problem is I don't remember what his name was. Oh wait,
Kid number 2.
Oh, James Duvall. Who's that?
Is that the actor's name?
Yeah.
I have no idea who that is.
What's his next known for Donnie Darko. Oh, he played Frank.
Oh, okay.
Is that
weird. That's the
bunny?
Yeah.
Does the bunny have a face?
Yeah, he at one point. That character is like in the film multiple times, and he was like, I think he's someone's like boyfriend, like a sister's boyfriend or something like that. If I remember correctly, I could be messing that up, but he's in the film. Remember, Darko shoots him in the eye at one point.
Oh, okay, yeah. Here's the photo of him with like his eye shot out.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Keanu Reeves-esque.
Yeah, he's like a Keanu Reeves type of dude. And he talked like kind of that same Cali bro way, so like my bit from France. Dad. Oh, Dad, the Eiffel Tower did.
You should have just spoken to everyone in France in that voice.
Oh, Dad, can I get a croissant? Except they literally just call it pan.
Yeah.
It's like bread. Just, can I get a bread?
Can I get bread?
Also, people in France do actually just buy baguettes.
Yeah.
Not to just like eat by themselves, I'm pretty sure, but like
to have
as
decoration in their house.
All the sandwiches or like the sub sandwiches are on a baguette. Yeah.
Listen, not a problem. I'm not gonna take issue with that. I like a good baguette.
I like chewy sandwiches. I'm not a huge fan of crunchy sandwiches.
Yeah, I think I might agree with you there.
In general, I don't want a crunchy meal. I want a chewy meal.
Well, nice. If it's toasted, I want it to be nice and like soft.
Yeah. Also, that's why I don't like breadcrumbs on mac and cheese, because it introduces a little too much crunch for my taste.
Well, we're not going to have an argument about that today.
You were on board, and then I said that.
And then now I'm off the board. I jump ship.
What? I just don't get it, though.
It's tasty, okay? I like the taste of the bread. Gives a nice... I like the texture, I think. I just like the little taste of it. Kind of like coagulates a little bit, too. It's nice and like clumped together. Gives it a little bit of form.
Takes away the flavor, you know. Takes away some of that cheese.
Completely just eradicates the flavor. I might as well be eating paper.
It's like you put an eraser into the mac and cheese.
All right. Did you watch anything else? I assume not.
No.
Well, neither did I. Although I imagine Avengers: The Infinity War, whatever it's called, Avengers: The Infinity War, whatever, is coming out Friday. I think. I'm sure we're gonna watch that at some point.
Of Thanos.
Before we move on, are you like super excited to see that, or do you? What's your?
I am excited to see it, but I'm not. Yeah, I'm not like pumped.
Yeah.
I'm just like interested. It's like, oh, okay, that movie's out. I'm definitely gonna see that, and it'll probably be pretty good.
Yeah.
But at this point, I'm not putting my expectations super high for any movie, for the most part.
Yeah, I'm just curious because some people are just going absolutely just nuts about this, and like I like most of the Marvel films, but I could not I'm not invested in the storyline. I couldn't tell you like what's going on or who's who or like.
I mean,
what's
there's not really much going on. It's literally just
everyone is
heroes.
fighting. They're just fighting everything, and they kill everything, and things are happening in the universe, and that's all I get. It's like, okay, great.
There's kind of like a backstory with the Infinity Stones or whatever.
I just have never cared about that, and I want to see what happens, but like I don't care about the setup. I just want to see what happens.
Yeah. And I know that once I see like Spider-Man and Star-Lord and Iron Man talking to each other on the same screen, that's going to be awesome. My favorite thing about the thing that makes me feel the most when I watch those movies for the most part is when those characters from two different movies are interacting. Yeah, I don't know why it's kind of a gimmick, but it works really well for some reason.
I don't know if I feel that strongly about it. I like when they get together because I think that's cool and they are doing things together, but I don't want to. I don't know. I don't want them to just throw Spider-Man and Black Panther and Iron Man on a scene and then just all right, look at these three people. Isn't it cool they're all together? It's yeah, I mean it's neat seeing them all together, but I want them to be doing something cool. I'm sure everything will be exciting.
Did you like the Civil War airport fight scene?
It was fine. I'm not a huge fan of Civil War. I know a lot of people think that is a fantastic movie. I don't think it was that great.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of it, but I did have a lot of fun during that scene.
That scene is cool. I just like the idea of it better. The idea better than what I actually saw. It's just the idea of 20 dudes superheroes just standing across a line from each other and all right, we're just gonna let's just fucking fight each other. That's cool. I just didn't I'm not invested enough in any of those characters really to care about any of their motivation. But it's still cool to see that.
Yeah, I definitely would have liked it a lot better if they were actually fighting to like kill each other.
Yeah, that's the other thing. I was like, there's zero stakes when they're fighting, so I was like, okay, like no one's even gonna get hurt. It's just like,
no one's even
like everyone's
stub their toe.
Yeah, just like if someone was about to get hurt, someone like Spider-Man would have stepped in, like, whoa, a kid, like, whoa, I'll catch you, bud. Like, you're not gonna fall over, so don't worry about it.
You know what's funny though is that someone did get hurt. War Machine got a big wound.
He got a big boo-boo on his head, okay? And
that's right.
He got
had
in
to
trouble.
Go to physical therapy.
Yeah, whoop-de-doo. Sorry, War Machine. He's got a fucking suit. Shut up, War Machine.
No one cares about War Machine.
No one cared about War. I like War Machine just because his name is like
okay,
that's a fucking badass name. Yeah. But he's so like underused. Like,
yeah,
he should be a cool Iron Man like alternate, but he's just not.
Yeah.
Honestly, Iron Man should just take the name War Machine and just give War Machine Iron Man, because War Machine is such a cool name.
That's true. Iron Man is, if you think about it, Iron Man is not that cool of a name.
It's not that great of a name.
There should be an Iron Boy.
Iron Boy. Boy Ironman.
Boy Machine.
What about, yeah, like Boy Machine.
War Boy.
Machine Boy.
Machine War Boys from
War Boy is cool.
From Mad Max.
Yeah, if War Machine renamed himself to War Boy, I'd be in on that. That sounds cool.
I don't know if that's true.
It's not true. All right, let's move. We're done with movies, right?
Yes. Although I did watch the season finale of Walking Dead.
Oh,
just
brief.
2 words on it. Not 2 words. Don't quote me on that. I don't like it when people.
I thought you were gonna narrow it down to 2 words only.
No, I won't. It was fine.
3 words.
That's true. Yeah, no, I was a little disappointed. They, first of all, no one died. Sorry, I probably should have said spoiler alert. It's kind of a spoiler to say no one died. But I honestly, on Walking Dead at this point, I'm kind of craving deaths. I don't like that that's the thing, but
yeah,
the most engaged I ever am is when someone dies.
I mean, that keeps it incredibly like fresh, and I feel like most of this season finale, like, I could be wrong, but I feel like every season finale kind of ends with someone dying, or at least like the indication that someone is going to die.
Yeah,
but if that didn't happen,
sometimes it's like the season opener when someone dies too. Yeah. But yeah, spoilers right here. What was I going to say? I think they were turning it on their head. I lied. I think they were turning it on their head because, again, spoiler alert. At the end, Rick, it's like a final battle between Rick and Negan. What did you say?
Morty.
Rick and Morty. Rick and Negan, and which sounds like it should be way cooler than it actually was. But he's like, the whole thing is that Carl said that they could like have peace and not have to like kill each other. So they both know that Carl said that, and they're both kind of thinking about that in the back of their heads. And so at one point, Rick is like kind of hurt, and he's like on the ropes. Negan could like kill him or whatever. He's like, please just let me say something real quick. Like, Carl thought that we could have peace or something like that. And he like goes into this speech, and it's like, could we do that? And then Negan is like, he like hesitates for a second, and then Rick just slits his throat with a jagged like shrapnel from a piece of glass that fell off. And then you're just like, oh shit. Which is, it's pretty cool. It's also a little like Rick going back on his word or whatever. That's like an interesting kind of morality thing. Yeah,
especially for like his son, where he's just like,
yeah,
it's like that was like his last like thoughts or whatever, like his like parting like idea, and he's just like, actually, fuck it, like, no, never mind.
Nope. Which that's not the end, because as Negan is dying, he says like, Carl didn't know shit. And then Rick, like, he looks at him, he's like, oh shit, like maybe I shouldn't have killed Negan like that. Like, oh no. And so then he goes over to like the big crowd of people that had just gathered, and he motions to his doctor. He's like, save him. And so then the doctor like saves him somehow. And so Negan's still alive. Also, I don't know how you save someone from a slit throat.
A throat gash. I'm really not sure.
It's like, I'm not a doctor, but I feel like that's not a thing you can just patch up.
I feel like just put a couple stitches in it. It'll be fine.
Yeah. Maybe he didn't hit the jugular.
Maybe I don't know.
He just grazed.
I feel like anytime someone in a movie slits someone's throat, it's just like...
It's
just wide open and you're done. Like, you just got a second mouth, basically. And it's like... blah,
and it's just
done.
spewing out blood.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it might be a matter of blood loss. Like,
I'm not a doctor.
If it's quick, maybe you can save it. I don't know.
Who knows?
But that was kind of interesting, I guess. But I was hoping for something a little more exciting, because the final battle wasn't even actually that exciting, and yeah, could have been better. I feel like the action at this point on Walking Dead is kind of lame,
subpar.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's it.
All right. Well, that's it for The Walking Dead this season.
I'll keep watching. All right. My interest is even starting to wane at this point, but I'm gonna keep watching for the time being.
Yeah. So I'm sure it's gonna end eventually. At some point, it will.
At some point.
All right. Let's move on to the final ultimate segment of video games.
That's right.
I've had
check the time.
A couple weeks to play some stuff. I feel like the last month really of like us recording, I've basically only been playing old games, like like Dragon Ball FighterZ is basically what I've had been playing for the last like month and a half. And Kingdom Hearts, that's right. But fortunately, last week, 2 big games came out for me, at least. The first one, Yakuza 6, the 6th entry in the long-running Yakuza series, of which I recently became a fan of after playing Yakuza 0, which I believe...
that was the first one you played?
Yeah. Well, because it's hard to play the other ones, because the first 3 came out, like, early 2000s. You had to, like... I didn't play. I had no idea what they were. The other ones only came out in Japan, or I don't know if they only came out in Japan, but like you had to like import them. I don't know. They're hard to like get a hold of in the United States. But yeah, Yakuza 0 came out. I think it was my number 3 game from last year. Fantastic game. So I was excited. I also they remade the first one, and I played that one as well. But I wanted to play this one because I like them all. So I started playing Yakuza 6 Song of Life.
Song of the South.
Song of the South. No, that's not it. Song of the Deep. Yeah, so I felt like it was kind of hard at first. I was like, am I gonna like this, because I've only played the prequel 0, which is a fantastic game, the first one, and then there's 4 other games that I haven't like seen, but they have like on the title screen, it's like, here's like a summary of what's happened in the previous games, and it's like a couple paragraphs describing what happened, which is kind of helpful, but I feel like just reading it isn't that great. But once I started playing it, like, they fill in the gaps pretty easily, and also there's not a lot of returning characters, because first of all, Kiryu, the main character, he's much older in this one. It takes place like in 2016. The first game takes place like in the 70s, so he's getting up there in age. He doesn't look like it very much. He still looks almost the exact same, which is like funny, but also like everyone calls him like old man, even though he looks like he doesn't look very old at all. It's just like funny. Fit. He stays fit. I mean, the dude is a monster. He's the Dragon of Dojima, as he's known, and he beats the shit out of people all the time. So but it's funny because
he probably has a great diet.
His diet, I don't know what that man eats, but it's working. It's actually funny because like
he's a cute boy.
Yakuza 6, I don't want to go into the story because it starts off like pretty heavy with like spoiler stuff, but you end up like you're on the search for someone who has committed a hit and run, basically, and that's kind of how the story starts, and you get like normally not normally I should say, but like the Yakuza 0 and Yakuza 1 deal with a lot of like the Yakuza like dealings with like clans like under like, you know, like the shady like underground mafia stuff happening, and this one is way more of like a personal story with Kiryu and like family members of his, and so that's kind of a different take on it, but it works really well. It's pretty like well written, and yeah, like I wish I had played those other games, because I honestly really enjoy, like, Kiryu is like one of my favorite characters. He's like the first game's let me restate that. Yakuza 0, the first chronologically, original game sets him up as like in like such a good way that like seeing him come from where he was in like the 70s to where he is now is just like, dude, this guy is just like, it's crazy to see like what he's doing. Like it's so funny every single time he like gets in a confrontation. It'll be just him. He's just there by himself, and like he's like a very stoic, like gruff guy, and there's gonna be like there's like 15 guys like, hey old man, like we're gonna like kick your ass, and he's just like every single time just like, I'm like too old for this shit, like I'm done with this, and he just destroys like every person, just like smashes them like into the ground. It's like, it's so like ridiculous, and the game has like a crazy sense of style with that, so I like that a lot. And it like toes the line between like being really funny. Like one of the side missions in early on is Kiryu gets recruited to be a mascot character for a town, and so he's dressed up in this really dumb looking like sailor outfit with like an orange like mascot head on, and he's sitting there like doing these like dumb poses and like catch lines to these kids, and then like these like gang members come from like, hey, like we don't like you having like fun here, like this is stupid. And then Kiryu's like, well, like he's like, no, we're all gonna have fun here, and he just like beats the crap out of these like gangster guys like in this dumb outfit, and like but then there's like another scene where it's like him being very serious, like it's like deadly serious, dealing with Yakuza members, and like the game toes the line between that like so well. It's kind of like that's one of my favorite parts actually, is like how well it splits the difference between that. So that's like super fun to see. And the game is running on a new engine, so it looks a lot better. It like plays differently than the old ones, which I'm not a huge fan of that change, but like the other games are a lot like arcadey, like it's just like kind of like a beat 'em up, like not a beat 'em up, but like an actiony, like pretty fast paced. But this new one is a little bit slower. I don't know if I like it as much. It might just be because that early on in the game you don't have a lot of like moves to deal with your enemies, but I do kind of like the other game had like a bunch of styles you could switch into like mid fight, and this one is just one style, and you're just doing these different moves. But
dumbed down.
It's not dumbed down because like you're doing the same moves, you just don't have like the different styles to switch into, which is like different, because they just kind of like rework the entire experience system, which is like you're saying, like the thing where it's like, oh, he must have a great diet. Like the other games encourage you to like go around and like eat food just so you can like restore your health, and like it didn't really give you anything in the other games. But in this one, like the way you get experience is like doing missions or whatever, but also like when you eat food, like it gives you experience like in different points, like, oh, you have your like strength or like social like meter and whatever, and like when you eat food, it just gives you experience points, and like even if you like go to a vending machine and get a drink, it'll give you experience points. So it kind of like encourages you to go out and do everything, which is like fun, because the world that you like the cities that you visit are like really interesting, and they look great. The new engine looks fantastic, so it's a fun game. I wouldn't recommend you start out with this one. I would say Yakuza 0, but like even me not knowing what happened in the other like few games besides the first one, like this one like catches up, and also it doesn't hold on to the other games very much. It like kind of separates itself, so you don't have to play the other ones, but I would say play Yakuza 0 because it's a fantastic game.
Did you play Kiwami or whatever that is?
Yeah, that's the first one. That's the remake of the first one. I played that one. It's good. That one I found a little bit like it was hard to play that one immediately after 0, because 0 is new. Like it was made like ground up for the PS4, I think, or it might have been a PS3 to PS4, but Kiwami, like it's in the engine that Yakuza 0 is in, but you can still tell like the way the cutscenes are like taking place, and the way even like they're shot, that this is a remake of like an old PS2 game. It's like the cutscenes are not very long, like they're not very like dynamic. It's like here's one like angled shot of like a room, and it's just like dudes talking, and then that's it. Like in the other like in Yakuza 0 and 6, like people are getting like fucking like flung through buildings and like thrown through shit, and like it's like a wild time. But in the first one, it's just like you can tell that it's coming from a dated game, and so it's not quite as like wild, but I mean it still looks good. It's just kind of like it's an interesting thing to see, but still a good game. But
interesting. Any disco party? Yes,
there's that game. Honestly, like it is filled to the brim with just wild mini games. There's like one, like there's like karaoke you can do. That's a staple of the series. That's like it's no brainer. When I was playing this, at one point Kiryu gets recruited into a baseball team to help out some people that he knows. After that, you can just play an entire baseball simulation like game. It's like here you can recruit people for your team. They all have stats, and like,
oh my God,
like you can place like certain like positions to play in, and just like, and you run them through like a season to like help them win like their like whatever like D-League baseball team. And, like, I was like, and I'm not kidding, I spent probably 3 to 4 hours just playing that, because like, one, it's fun, and two, it's just like why am I doing this? Like, I don't know, like, this is just like a silly thing, like, it's fun, like, they like let you, mostly it's like a simulation, so it goes by and like the games take like 10 minutes maybe to like, start from finish, like to watch things play out, but it'll like let you like play and like hit the ball like randomly, so you can like still have kind of fun like hitting home runs and doing that. But it's just like weird things like that make me just love that game so much, because it's just like, no matter what happens in that game, I know at one point I'm just gonna be doing something just completely like off the wall. Like, one of the other main points in this game is that Kiryu is dealing with a child a lot of the time, similar to another game we're going to talk about, except this is like an actual baby. And so like
an actual baby.
Yeah, it's a legitimate baby. Like, it's like a 1-year-old child that this like crazy Yakuza dude is carrying around, and he's just carrying around like this child, like trying to deal with it. That.
He'll like give the baby to like a bystander.
Yeah, like when he fights, he's like, can you hold this? And it's just like, just hands it like the baby. It's just like, it's
can you hold this legitimate baby?
It's really funny. But like at one point, you're carrying this baby around, like looking for milk, and then like a mini game pops up, and it's like, oh no, like the baby's crying, you need to like deal with this baby, and it's like you have to like read its like animations that's doing like, hey, shake the controller to the left, or like shaking around, or like pat its head. It's just like, this is like so silly stuff. Yeah, it's like that game honestly, like, yeah, it has so many like wild, like dumb things. One of the other mini games I did was a fishing mini game, where it basically turned into a light, like on rail shooter, where you're underwater scuba diving, just like shooting fish. There's like these boss fight fish at the end of each run, where like I'm fighting a giant squid. At one point, I fought a giant shark. Like, it's just like dumb things like that. They're like really dumb when
like
you
harpooning.
Yes, you're using a harpoon gun to shoot like fish and like collect treasure chests. It's so stupid, but like it's done in such a like tongue-in-cheek way that like you have to laugh when you're like doing it, because it's just
that's funny. Definitely like an arcade, like a Japanese arcade game in itself. Like, you would go to a Japanese arcade and just play,
it looks exactly like that too.
Simulator.
Like, and what's funny is when he starts, a lot of the boss fights, mostly the end boss fights in Yakuza games, is Kiryu being very serious and like taking his shirt, like ripping it off, and then it shows like the dragon on his back. It's like it's really badass when it happens. But like at the first fishing mini game, he's on the like edge of the boat, like doing this, and like it goes to the cutscene where he's ripping his shirt off, and he does it, and then he's just wearing a scuba suit underneath and like gets ready to like he dives into the water. It's so dumb. Silly. It is really silly, but it's fun, and like just dumb things like that keep it interesting throughout. So, and also the story is like really well done. Not the writing, but like the localization for it is really good. And yeah, even the voice acting, even though I can't understand it, Kiryu, like when he delivers his lines, like you can just like feel that this dude is a badass. Like he goes from doing those dumb like mascot jokey things to saying like, oh, like if you mess with me, like I'll bury you. And it's like, oh fuck, like this guy's a badass. So that's fun.
This guy's got a big one.
He's got a big gun. No, he doesn't use guns.
Yeah, isn't that the thing? Like, do people use guns against you and then you have to like dodge it?
You do fight people with firearms, but it's not very often. And also like, it's not that you'll get hit by them, but you can like disarm people with like
you'll get shot.
You'll get shot, but Kiryu's a big guy. He can take it. So, but yeah, I know
his skin is made of metal.
Yeah. I mean, he's been through a lot. He's been to prison like 4 times throughout the series, like for multiple years.
He's like 50 Cent.
He is. So yeah, I don't know. That game's fun. I haven't been playing it much because I've been playing God of War mostly lately. But
yeah, I was gonna say.
So
how do you find time?
I haven't. Yeah, I kind of stopped playing Yakuza when God of War came out because I didn't know that I was going to get into it as much as I did. But that game consumed me for the greater part of the last week. So yeah, I would be happy to talk about it. Have you played it or started it?
Yeah. So when I got back from France, it had been out for a couple days. Therefore, everyone I knew had beat it. No, I'm just kidding. But probably true. Yeah. So I bought it digitally, of course. Even though I saw on Cheap Ass Gamer. Shout out Cheap Ass Gamer on Twitter. He had a deal on. There's an eBay, like sometimes Newegg has like an eBay account, and then they'll sell stuff like at a discounted rate. And so they had that game for like $48, like new or something like that. So I was thinking about doing that, but it was a physical thing, and
Yeah.
I couldn't like get it on the spot. So I was just like, it's so convenient to just buy it on the digital thing and then just load it up.
Once I like fully committed doing that, I have never looked back. Like
Yeah.
I just can't.
You know.
I cannot find like the motivation to go out and buy a game and do it. I know.
Could save half off or something like that.
Even then, like well, the thing is, like, I want to play most of the games right when they come out, and they almost never have that kind of deal.
Yeah.
And honestly, when you wait long enough, the digital version goes on sale anyways. So
Yeah.
it never benefits me to go out and buy it.
Well, let me give you a
physically.
quick scenario. The game just came out, and you can either do digital full price or half price physical. Would you do it?
Would I buy it physically?
Would you buy
Probably
it
not. I probably wouldn't go out and buy
Wow,
it. Listen,
that's
the convenience is worth a lot.
You wouldn't pay $30 less.
No, I honestly would much rather, like, I know it's $30, but still, like, the convenience of just being able to have it on my console at all times, never take the disc out. Like, I just don't want to have to.
Okay, this is completely unrealistic, but let's say it's $15 for the physical version, $60 for the.
I mean, I want to say no because I honestly like I just
You're
don't.
hardlined.
I don't want to deal. I don't want to deal with the disc anymore. Like
That's
I don't ever want to.
Free physical.
No, fuck it.
just
Then
kidding.
absolutely not. And then I would pay 120. I buy it twice on digital. No.
All right. Yeah, so I loaded it up, and I don't know how far through. Not very far. I just found, this is not a spoiler because it's in the promotional images.
Yeah.
I just like found that big serpent monster basically.
Okay. So you made it to the lake.
Yeah.
Okay. That's like when the game really like begins, I
Yeah.
guess, when it opens up a little bit.
Starts to
So
pick up. Something interesting about this game, just for me, this is kind of specific. We'll go into more general stuff, but for me, one of the most interesting things is that I started it on hard difficulty, or like the give me a challenge difficulty or whatever, and then I was playing through this one fight literally like 15 times. I restarted it, and I was like, I could do this, and I know I'd be able to do this, and it unfortunately it just takes so much time.
yeah.
And I'm like, you know what? No, I'm just gonna do the balanced. It's like give me a balanced thing or whatever is the name of it. Basically like standard mode, and it's easier on that. It's still not like easy, thank God, but that's like the regular mode.
I like what you described was like, oh, I could do this, but it just takes forever.
It
like,
does take a
I've
really
experienced
long
that even on the normal difficulty. Like the further you get into the game, I've had fights against regular enemies where I'm just like, I have like some of the highest level gear available, and I feel like I should be killing these dudes in one hit or like two hits, but like it's taking me like combo after combo. I'm like this is just taking too long to like be normal. So like I like that's like honestly one of the like things that bugs me. Is just like I don't feel strong at some points.
Yeah.
Even though I feel like I should just be crushing like these weak enemies, and some of them do die very pretty quickly. But there just seems times which is like it's just taking too long. And like there are some like optional like mini boss type enemies in that game, and they're fucking brutal. And like I've spent like multiple like 5-10 minutes at a time fighting these things, and then you die at the end. It's like.
Man,
I gotta do that again. Like, it's not great, but it's a minor gripe.
yeah, I was hoping that it would be a situation where you are like weak at the beginning, a classic situation where you're weak at the beginning, and then as the game goes on, you like get stronger. But it seems like it's doled out at such a slow pace.
Yeah,
like the money is like really slow coming in. Like I can't buy nearly as many things as I want to buy.
I would definitely say at the start of the game you are limited like in resources and money, but as the game goes on, like if you spend time exploring, and also even if you don't spend time exploring, there are ways in that game where like money and like experience and resources just become a non-issue. Like at a certain point in the game you're getting so much shit like you don't even have to deal with it anymore. So like that it evens on that regard, but the power, like the feeling of power like still doesn't quite get there. Like I'm still not, I feel like I'm doing the same amount of damage against the enemies that I was doing at the start of the game. They just have a higher number next to their name. It's just like okay, like and that's fine. Like it keeps it from being just a cakewalk, but I still kind of wish I could get through some of the fights faster because it just is time consuming.
It's one thing like if they'll kill you in like a couple hits, but it's another thing if it takes 35 hits to kill one enemy.
Yeah.
Like, that's not, I hesitate to say unfair, but that's like
it's
just annoying.
Yeah, and honestly, that is what's happened. Like, there's, like I said, these mini bosses, like, they're really challenging fights, and these enemies can kill you in 2, 3, 4 hits or whatever, depending on how early you fight them or how geared out you are. But it takes me like I'm doing combo after combo after combo, and just like, I'm doing like nothing at all, even though I have like super high level gear. Like, it's just like there's like tuning that, like, it's not like they're overly hard either. It's just it takes forever, and I don't like that. Like, I just want to be a little bit snappier, like, you know. But
anyways, more in general about it. It seems like it's kind of taking elements from other games. Like, it's a lot Dark Souls.
Yeah,
actually,
it's like Dark Souls light. Yeah, like, especially in the combat. Like, this game, for me, like, first of all, like I said, I've literally been playing this game nonstop since it came out. Like, whenever I have the free time, like, I've been playing this, and so, like, I think it's fantastic. But it basically took everything that I didn't like about other God of War games, which we've discussed on this podcast before. Like, I played God of War like 1, maybe beat it, maybe I didn't. It's been years, I don't remember. I played a PSP game. Like, I don't like God of War. I never did, and I never thought I would. But this game took everything that I didn't like about the other ones, removed it, and then made it into a game that I actually like, except for the combat, kind of. Like, the combat, I feel like it sticks in one half where it's like, okay, we're kind of going to mimic Dark Souls a little bit, but we don't, like, commit enough to make it as interesting as, like, Bloodborne and Dark Souls actually is. Like, it's still actiony, but it's not, like, but it's not fast enough or, like combo-y enough to, like, an action game, you know what I mean? Like, it just doesn't commit.
I don't know if I really know exactly what you mean.
So, like, if you, like, well, first of all, like, the old God of War games, like, they're like these, like, mash, like, square, like, 7 times and hit triangle, do, like,
like, it literally says, like, times 2,
yeah, like, you're getting
3.
these combo counters, like, Devil May Cry, Bayonetta, those kind of games, like, it was like that, and I like those, like, kinds of action games. And then Dark Souls is, like, a completely different thing, where it's, like, it's very slow, you're locking on enemies, you're planning, like, you're hitting combos and, like, dodge rolling out of the way and stuff. And this game has that, but it's just, like, the enemies don't kill you as quick as in Dark Souls. They're not that punishing, but also, like, you're just not doing, like, the hits don't feel as impactful, and, like, you're not doing enough damage to the enemies that you're even doing, like, a full combo on them. Like, I don't know. The combat for me just doesn't, like, it's not exciting as I hoped it would be for a God of War, from what I liked of it, but...
Yeah,
it looks nice.
Yeah,
and it feels kind of good. Like, a lot of the hits, like, feel good, and, like,
feels good. But then you look at how much damage you did, and you're
like, damn, I wish I had done a little bit more.
Yeah, I think that's the main flaw. It's like, just let me do a little more damage to them. Don't make me do 10 combos.
That's
without getting hit twice.
I agree. There's trials, like, combat trials you can do later in the game. One of them is defeat a bunch of enemies without getting hit once. I'm just like, fuck off. Like, I'm not doing that. Like, I literally can't kill an enemy with, like, 3 combos, which take, like, a lifetime to commit to, and then, like, I can't be hit once.
And there's, like, 5 dudes, like, surrounding you. You're like,
that's the other thing is, like, because the camera's in third person, you can't see all the way behind you, and so, like, when you're surrounded by enemies, I'm just like, I can't not get hit by this dude. Like, this is so hard.
And there's no field of view slider or anything like that.
Yeah, and that's for, like, that's on purpose, I'm sure, because, like, one of the other things about the game is that, like, besides the camera change, is, like, I remember the director saying something like he wanted the game to look like it was one long cut, and it does. Like, there's after the initial loading screen, you never see a loading screen again, and, like,
unless you die, of course.
But I never died, so I never saw a loading screen.
This is all one take for me.
Yeah. This is my new series, one take games, where I turn every game into a one take. But like the game itself.
They call you One Take Jake.
Yeah, I'm gonna change my name to Jake so I can copy that brand. But yeah, I really like this game. Like, it looks like fantastic on the PS4 Pro. Like, it's probably the best looking game I've seen on the PS4 ever, I think, at this point. It's crazy. Like, the part you're talking about where, like, the when you see the giant serpent, like, I was just like, holy shit, like, this
Jeans
thing
were
is
creamed.
Yeah, I was like, this thing is fucking wild looking, and, like, I'm playing with my headphones on. Like, have you heard it, like, speak?
Not with my headphones on.
Okay, like when it talks, like it has like the serpent that you're dealing with, like is speaking in a language, and like you can't understand it. And like I had my headphones on, like when they started talking, like the bass was so fucking deep. I was like, my head is like burning from like this like like this is like not a human noise being made. I was like, what is like happening to this like monster? This is wild. Yeah. Like just the presentation of the game is like insane. Like I think that's one of the things that has like driven me to keep playing is like I just want to see like everything in the game because it looks like crazy. Like the things that you see in that game are wild.
Yeah, I don't have a PS4 Pro, and I do regret it sometimes. And this is a trend I'm starting to see where they may have designed it for the PS4 Pro, so there's a little bit of like stuttering and frame rate issues on the regular console, which I'm starting to feel like I'm being oppressed.
That was definitely an issue that I had thought about when I didn't have the PS4 Pro. I was like at a certain point the games are either just gonna look like much worse, or they're gonna run worse than their PS4 like counterpart. On the Pro, it has the option to play in preferred resolution mode or performance. Performance is 1080p and like not 60 frames per second all the time. It's uncapped, which I kind of dislike, because if the game is running at 1080p or performance mode, I want it to be locked 60, because that is just like that's a steady experience. When it is like fluctuating from 60 to like a lot of these like intense like battles where there's a ton of like stuff going on, it drops back down to like 30, and it's fluctuating in between, and so like it doesn't feel good because the game's either super smooth at one moment and then it's like not smooth at all again like in another moment. Like that doesn't feel right. It's like annoying to me when that happens. But the resolution mode is like their like fake 4K mode locked at 30, and I've seen the game like drop like the frame rate's dropped on that one too. So like it's just it's a 0-win situation on either end, it seems. So
interesting. I hadn't really heard too much about that.
It's not often enough that it like was upsetting to me, but there were definitely times where I was like, that's not running at 30.
It was definitely no Last Guardian, because Last Guardian, like if you look up the videos, there's some offensive frame rates.
I absolutely saw some where I was just like, oh, that is, I can count the frames on that. That's not good.
We're looking at some old-timey, like, silent film right here. But, so on the regular PS4, it's like, it's not resolution or performance. It's just
it's just
30
PS4.
Frames. So that's interesting. I am having fun. I feel like we're like harping on criticisms a fair amount, but we have said that we're still like playing it a lot, and it's very fun. The story is fairly good, I guess. I haven't gotten very far in it, but
I think it starts out strong, at least. Like it starts like, the thing for me is that like one of the reasons I didn't like the other God of War games is that Kratos wasn't a character. He was just a man who wants to commit revenge, and that's literally all he did, and that's all he ever was capable of. Like his entire motivation was like, I want to kill, and like that was it. Like he wasn't interesting at all. Like that was his only thing. And like I was like, like that's stupid and boring. And this one, like they've completely changed it. He has a son. His son is like interesting enough where it's like he's kind of like a brat at some times, but also like he's a kid, so like it makes kind of sense. And Kratos is like a real character finally. He has, you could call it emotion. He's still very like stone faced all the time, but you can tell that he's like a person in this one.
He's kind of rude to his son.
He's a little rough with him. He's a little gruff. He's strict. But
you might not want to learn parenting from him.
No, I wouldn't. Listen, don't go to Kratos' parenting school. But listen, he's had a rough life, Kratos, and he's trying to teach his kid how to survive. But I think it's like an interesting dynamic. Like throughout the whole game, like things happen, and it's like, okay, like this is interesting, and I always wanted to see where it was going next because it was interesting, and all the characters you meet along the way too are all like pretty interesting as well. So I would say look forward to that, I guess.
I really liked Brock, or whatever his name is, Blumen,
the dwarf. He'll just throw in the F word like randomly, which is really funny. He's a recurring character throughout the game. So like every time he has like a cutscene or conversation, like I like usually chuckled at something he said, because it's just like he's like so just like off the wall, and then he just like throws in just like you like son of a bitch or something like that. I'm just like, oh, okay. Like that was mean, like, but thank you.
He's like, thank you for thank you for your patronage. Now fuck kindly off, or
he's
something
like,
like
fuck
that.
right off. I was like, okay, I like this dude. Okay.
And what I love is when you go to the kids like upgrades or whatever, sometimes they'll say silly stuff, and one of them is like, what can I do for you, you little fart?
Yeah. That's actually funny, because like that's like a really, again, like the game's like super immersive, so like it's funny when you do that. It'll be like you'll go to his menu and like, oh, like what do you want, like you little pipsqueak or whatever, and then like you exit out, he's like, oh, back to like the other guy. It's like, okay, like that's cool. The game like is just like seeing me do that, you know, like making it seem like a actual interaction going on. Like that whole game, like the presentation honestly is for me one of the high points. Is like it's just amazing. Like some of the like set piece moments are just like insane looking. They've
always like God of War has always had like crazy camera work and like, action set piece filmmaking type of deal.
I agree, but I feel like from what I've seen in the other games, it's more like it's more impressive to me in this one, because the entire game, like it does that in one fluid motion. Like every cutscene, like there's no, like I said, there's no loading screens. It does what Uncharted like claims to. It's like, oh, like we're gonna fade from cutscene to in game, and like you're not gonna tell the difference. In this game, it literally just does that. Like the camera like pans out, and you're just in a cutscene, and then you're back, like it's behind your back, and the HUD appears, and you're just back in, and like it does all that like fluidly, like in one take, like the game promotes, like in such a like a weird, cool way that I think that's really fascinating.
Did Uncharted not do that?
I mean, Uncharted like did that, but like it has like in between levels, like there's like loading screens and like things like that. Like it's not like
really. Well, I don't even remember.
It like it's not like one continuous like thing like in God of War. Like in God of War, it's literally like there is no like break between, like there's no fade to black.
There's no cuts.
There's literally no cuts. It's the game is one entire take, which is like a insane thing to see in a game. Like it's cool.
Yeah, it's also shaky cam.
Yeah,
to some degree, even when you're just playing the game. Like, the camera will like wobble a little bit behind you, even when you're like standing still, which is kind of take it or leave it. It's kind of an interesting effect, but also I don't love like that style.
Yeah.
Especially in like the Bourne movies or whatever, when like they're sitting in a cafe like talking to each other and the camera's just like the dude has like shaking problems.
He's got an issue.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't mind it too much. I don't really like notice it that much, but it
works really well during the cutscenes.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. Any other part of the game that I liked. I think also like the way that you can just go from like doing the story missions and like you're kind of going to experience it right now. Like when you get to the lake, it's like even the kid mentions it, like everything is mentioned in game with like an in-game purpose. He's like, hey, you know, like father, we can go do whatever we need to do, or we can just go explore if you want. And it's like, sure. I'm like, well, I'll go do that. And I literally just like spend hours doing that because there's so much stuff to do in the game. And you just like, I just kept finding other things to do. I was like, oh, okay, sure. But then also when you go through the game, like I didn't feel, and I wish I had like known this before I had like gone in, but it's like no matter kind of what you do in the story, like you can always go back to like other things that you're doing, like the like side quest stuff. Like you never lose out on an opportunity to do anything in the game. So you can kind of just like breeze through the story for like a good amount and go back, or just spend as much time exploring as you want. And I think that's like helps keep things fresh.
Yeah, like Arkham Knight.
Sure. Don't compare this game to Arkham Knight because I don't want to have that conversation.
Yeah, I was thinking about that game today. Fun game.
It's a fun game. Listen, that game got a lot of like critical hype and like this is like the best fucking like Batman game, or like best like action third-person action game, and blah, blah, blah. Like this is really great. And I played it. I was like, this is fine. This is this is fine. This is okay. Batman is fine.
Oh my god. Did you play the other like all the other Arkhams?
No.
No? Wow. I would have thought you would be more impressed if it was your first Arkham game.
No.
No.
It was fine.
Yeah. I mean, you'd probably played like games with a similar style.
Yeah, I mean, those games aped the like Assassin's Creed, Shadow of War, Shadow of Mordor like counter system, which is, it's fine. I have my own issues with that fighting system itself, which probably leads to my issues with the game. But yeah.
I thought the branding of like Batman's world is like cool, like seeing all the characters interact and how they didn't explain like the backstory. Like you see Nightwing or whatever, you see Robin, but they don't go into a huge backstory about them. You're just like, oh, that's like one of the homies. Yeah. And now he's like interacting. I feel like that was kind of cool.
I like seeing the characters, but also I just didn't like the story in that game. I like parts of it. Like I liked the stuff with the Joker was cool, like the way that was played out.
How he like shows up.
Yeah, like they do like really interesting things with that. Like the start of the game is like that weird like first person shooter thing. Even the end of the game goes into like a weird like shooting segment or whatever. It's like this is like a cool like thing. Like the interactions with those characters are cool, but I just didn't care for this. I don't care for Batman, first of all. Like the story of Batman I didn't really care about. So that's partial on me for
you don't care that he's an orphan.
No, I don't give a shit. Nothing about his like life I cared about in that game. I didn't care about his like relationship with Nightwing and Robin or whatever. But I was just like, okay, this is fine.
What about the whole like killing joke or whatever, where Joker like kills what's her face?
It's fine.
That's fine.
It's okay. It's fine. Yeah. I also felt like it was predictable.
You're a Batman hater.
Listen, I knew nothing about the Arkham Knight storyline. I knew exactly how it played out from the get-go. I was like, this is like whatever, like Nightwing or not Nightwing, but like
spoilers.
Whatever the Arkham Knight was like, this is like predictable as hell. Like obviously, like this is some person Batman knows. There's only one person Batman knows. It's fucking Robin. Everyone knows that. Like, how could you not like guess that's Robin? He knows no one else. He has no relationships. It's
not
Robin.
The current Robin, but the old
Robin.
One of the old Robins.
It's Robin, old Robin boy. One of the nice boys, Robin.
Listen, I didn't guess it, but I never like with movies and stuff with twists or like secret hidden characters or whatever. I never like try to figure out who it is beforehand. I feel like people like really try.
I tried, but like that was the point where it's like, who is this guy? How does he know me? It's like, dude, how many fucking people like know you? Like no one knows who you are, Batman.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's someone you know, you dumbass.
Yeah.
Batman's an idiot.
He had a cool character design, though.
He did. Arkham Knight does look badass. I agree with that.
All right. We can end on a compromise there. All right. Well, God of War, good game.
Yeah.
Probably have more to talk about next episode.
Yeah.
Even though there's not a ton more to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, I'm basically almost 100% done with the game. Like I said, I've been playing it nonstop.
I'm almost 100% done with my life. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm probably going to get the platinum for that game, I think. If I have to play through the game again to get a platinum, I probably won't. But if I can do it all in one run, which I'm doing right now, I'll probably try to get it.
Maybe I should look through those and make sure I'm doing everything.
Yeah, I think I know for sure that there's none for like the regular difficulty settings, because you can't like... The difficulty setting doesn't change anything in the game besides the difficulty. You don't lose out on rewards or experience or anything. So there's nothing beneficial to that. But I just don't want to have
God made.
That's the one thing I'm kind of worried about, is that there's a trophy for going through on that, because that mode is locked from the start. So maybe or is that God? There's a mode that's locked at the start. I don't know if it's God mode or some other version. But.
Yeah, I don't know if it was locked or not, but you couldn't change to it like during the game.
Oh right, yeah. So hopefully I don't have to do that again. I don't think I will. But yeah, great game. Highly recommend.
So you didn't look through the trophies yet?
Oh, not yet. No. Mostly because I didn't want to spoil anything. I'm done with the game now, so I don't really care. But I just didn't need to. Like, I usually don't look at the trophies at the start of the game anyways, because I don't care that much. But once I'm done and kind of filling out the checklist, that's when I would go through and check. So I need to go do that. But great game. I highly recommend. Probably my I haven't finished Yakuza yet, so that might be a contender for this. But probably the like best game I've played this year so far. Like, not that many releases happened this year, but
yeah. I don't even know what other games I played this year.
I mean, like, the other things I played was like Dragon. I can only remember Dragon Ball FighterZ and like Shadow of the Colossus, and I don't count Shadow of the Colossus because that's an old remake of a game. But
old ass game.
Like, I feel like last year way more like high profile games had come out at this point in the year. It's like Resident Evil 7 had come out already. Like I don't know, some other stuff had happened, but this is kind of like the start of some big games, I feel like. So
yeah, this is the start of something new.
Yeah, God of War.
Yeah,
this is, I'll say it, the best God of War game. It's the only one I've liked. It's the best one.
I'm sure a lot of people would agree with you.
I'm good. I'm glad. Because play this game if you have a PS4. Even if you don't have a PS4, find a way to play this game.
Do you think that there's any amount of, do you think do you dislike at all that he kind of took a lot of elements from other games and just put them together and was like, what are all the best elements of Dark Souls? What's good about the story of Last of Us? Like, what about platforming was good in like the original games? And like,
I don't feel bad. I just feel like this game kind of personifies that all games are kind of becoming the same thing, where it's just like we're all kind of like, I made this point before with like the other games, like this just looks like a Sony like PS4 exclusive game. Like if you look at the trailers for The Last of Us, if you look at the gameplay from The Last of Us, like look at any sort of like first party Sony game coming out, they all have this off tilt third person behind the back camera. Many of them have a young character with like a kid with you. It's just like, or like some sort of like fallen companion, like you're doing the kind of like, even if you look at I think someone mentioned this, that the creative director of this game, he worked at Crystal Dynamics, which is the people that made like the newest Tomb Raider games, which if you look back, if you imagine this God of War game as a Tomb Raider, like one of the new Tomb Raider games, it's like, oh, like there's actually a lot of things that are kind of similar to what it, like the way it looks, and kind of like some like the not dungeon designs, but like just like the world kind of like movement designs that you go through. Is like, okay, I could kind of see how like this is like a Tomb Raider like third person, you know, action-ish game. It's like, okay, but I'm not upset because it's done like if it takes all those things and does it in a great way, then great. And this game does it like in a better than great way. It does it in like a fantastic way, so I'm not upset about it. I am kind of upset that it loses a little bit of its identity, that like particularly for the combat. Like I kind of wish the combat either had stayed the like same kind of like hyper fast action like from the old games, or just committed to being a Dark Souls like heavy, like punishing difficult game. But it didn't do either of that really, so that's the only my gripe with it, is that, you know, the combat is iffy sometimes. But I mean, it's fine. Like it's good throughout the game. I just feel like it could be like different in a way. I don't know how, but it could be different. But other than that,
I feel like the combat is as close to Dark Souls as you can get without being like Neo.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. It's like the ideas are the same, but it's just not as like, it's not as refined like as Dark Souls. Not even because Dark Souls is kind of like, it's slow, but everything is methodical and thought out. Like you know exactly what you're doing when you press a button in Dark Souls, and in this I feel like you can just be like kind of like really loose with Kratos, and it's like, okay. And also in Dark Souls, one of the main things is that when you hit an enemy, like they look like they get hit and they take feedback, and they move back, and you can continue doing an attack. What happens here, and like this bugs me a lot throughout the game, is you'll try to do a combo, and then the enemy will just become immune to like knockback during the middle of a combo, and just like won't like flinch, and so you can't finish a combo when the enemy starts attacking you. It's just like
only like the wimpiest of enemies will actually like fly up in the air.
And so like, and I don't know if you've seen it at the start now, but like eventually like you get abilities that'll be like one of the but like one of the skill like tree abilities you get for the axe. Is that you attack, like you can do any sort of light attack and then pause for a moment, and you'll stop and switch into a new stance, and then you can continue doing a combo. That ability literally useless because you can't pull it off against a normal enemy because they just hit you. I was gonna say,
this pause, like looking at the video, the pause is way too long. Like, I'm never gonna be able to pull that off.
Honestly, it's just like you could do it a couple times, but like there's no reason to do that instead of just doing a normal combo. It's just like I like it looks really cool, but I can't pull it off. Like, why would I do that? Like,
when the ability literally says like you pause, I was like, why would I buy that?
You're like, never mind.
Like
I bought it because I want to buy everything. I was like, I never use this. Like, I can't use it.
First, you do a series of attacks. Then you pause for a sec.
And like, the only time I did that was like, oh, this enemy is very weak and flinches all the time. I guess I'll try it. And I was like, oh, I could just use my other attacks. Like, I don't need to do that.
Yeah, that's when you use those type of things.
The other ability that I've never used is we didn't mention this, but like one of the main abilities with Kratos is that you have an axe that you can throw around, like Thor's hammer. It always comes back to you.
Yeah.
One of the abilities is that you can mark up to 3 enemies, and like you get more, like it's like
can do
up to
battling.
5, up to 8. Yeah. I bought that skill. I didn't use it once. I was like, I can't find the time in combat to hold the axe out and then line up 3 targets and let it go. I was like, there's no time for that.
Yeah.
I would never be able to do that. And
that's true. I didn't know that was the thing, but I never even used like the standard throw for the most part.
Oh, yeah.
Like I've used it on those throwing fireball enemies that are up high, because like there's not really much choice, and like they're a real nuisance, so you kind of need to like take them out, but there's barely even enough time to like hit them with that. I found that like I've actually used that ability a lot against some of like the other regular enemies, because when you're fighting more than one enemy, it can be useful sometimes, especially if they're like the heavy, like big enemies, to just keep your distance and kind of like whittle them down a little bit, and so that like that's useful. Also, you get some upgrades later that like if you get like a headshot with it, it'll let you like the next throw does like way more damage. Just like you get useful things like that. But yeah, some of the just combat abilities, you just can't use them, or like they don't feel like worthwhile to use, which is like not what you want when you're like spending those like late game like upgrades on that. So yeah, but yeah. Play God of War, please. Everyone play God of War. It's great. Yeah. I think everybody has seen that the reviews are crazy, so...
Yeah. I was glad. Like, I honestly wasn't like expecting to like this game that much. I knew it was going to be a good game. Every like first-party game from Sony is a good, at least, or great, like, mostly. But I was like, am I really going to like God of War? Like, I hate the other one. I don't hate the other ones. I dislike the other ones, but, like, this game completely changed my mind. I'm excited to see, like, every iteration of it from now on.
Yeah. The most interesting thing about it was that they like changed everything.
Yeah.
And I don't know how he got away with doing that.
That was the other thing where it was like, I was excited about that change, but I had zero confidence that they could pull it off, because they had there's no indication that they've ever been able to make like a game with a good story, good characters, like, and a game with this kind of like camera angle in it. You know, it's like all the other games are just straight up like fighting action games. But this is completely different, and they pulled it off. So congrats to you guys. Sony Santa Monica. Whoever you are.
And Corey.
Yeah, Corey Barlog.
Did you see the video of him, like, looking at reviews or something like that, and then he, like, cried?
Yeah. Good for him. I actually, like, he has, like, a really interesting, I read, like, a interesting interview and, like, story about his relationship with the game. Like, when he made the first couple God of War games, like, with his dad working with him, and this one, like, he's older, he has a son of his own, he kind of, like, grew up with the game. I was like, okay, like you can kind of see how God of War itself has grown up. Like this game is like one of the other like, and hopefully this will finish this up, but like the other part of God of War I didn't like was that it was just like the violence part of it is like it's just over the top in a way that like the selling point is that it's violent and bloody, and like that's really like great. I was like, whatever, that's fine. But like in this one, very early on in the game, there's a moment where you're fighting like this troll, and Kratos kills it. And then his son is like stabbing it, like really, he's like, you suck, like stabbing it, and Kratos is like don't do that, like you've killed it already, like you don't need to like pulverize it after it's dead. I was like, thank God. Like old Kratos would have just done that same thing. New Kratos, like in this game, is older and like not just a fucking just like personification of revenge and like destruction. Yeah, he's like a real thing. He
still does like crazy ass kills.
He does, but there's so many points in the game where like in the other games you can imagine, you see where like there's so many scenes of Kratos like ripping off like Hermes' like fucking like ear like things or whatever, and like punching Zeus in the face like 400 times. Like in this, he has the opportunity to do those things and he doesn't do it because like there's no like point.
He's John Wick. One shot to the head.
Listen, one shot, boom, you're done. Go to the next one. Kill what you need to kill, and that's it. So it's cool to see Kratos grow up a little bit, and I enjoy that.
Yeah. Speaking of John Wick, did you know that there's a song by The Migos where it's like a rap song about John? It's called John Wick, I think, and they're like, one gun man, John Wick, just talking about all black.
I'm gonna listen to that song immediately.
Yeah,
that seems fun.
Check it out.
Check out our affiliate link to Migos.
All right, well.
Yeah, I think
We've gone on enough.
Yeah, I assume you haven't been playing anything else since you were gone.
I did play Rocket League on the Switch a little bit, but not enough for it to really matter. All that I have to say about that is that the input lag is better than PS4, which doesn't make sense because the controllers aren't even connected to the console.
That's wild.
Or I guess they can't. I guess it's just as connected as the PS4, but I don't know. For some reason, the PS4 input lag is ridiculous. Maybe it's just the TV. I don't know. But I've seen that problem everywhere where like people are like PS4 input lag for Rocket League is really bad. So yeah, that's pretty much it for that. And then were you gonna say something?
That actually reminded me when I started playing God of War. So my TV has HDR on it, and so when it plays something that, or when you watch a video that has HDR, the screen will pop up with a little badge that says like HDR enabled or whatever. And so when it does that, it will automatically switch like the like TV like viewing type to like an HDR game mode normally. But what happened was I had been playing on, like, I had been watching a video beforehand that was an HDR, and so I don't watch it in game mode because I want to have all like the like special like effects on it or whatever. So I started playing God of War. I was like, wow, this looks like really like bright and colorful. Like this is like weirdly like bright, and what's going on here? And also, why is it so like laggy? Everything just kind of seems like really delayed. And then I realized like 4 hours into the game that I'd been playing not in game mode, which is like a significant like difference in like input lag on my TV. I was like, oh shit, what was I doing?
Yeah,
that made the game feel a whole lot better after that. But
I'm sure it did.
I was just like, what the fuck was I doing? I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah. The only other thing I tried was the Zelda DLC, like the Master Sword Challenge or something like that.
Oh.
It's kind of annoying because you don't have any equipment, and then you go through like various levels, and you can gain equipment, but it doles out the food at like a very slow rate, so it's hard to like regain all your health back. And I did die on that like 5 times, and you have to go all the way back to the first stage whenever you die.
How many stages are there?
I don't know. I was on like maybe the 6th or like 6th to 8th stage or something like that when I would die, and they like get harder and harder with enemies and stuff like that. So
that seems annoying.
Yeah, it was annoying enough where like on the plane when I was already kind of like not stressed, but like
it's like being done with going through customs and all that stuff.
Yeah, I was just like, no,
nah,
this isn't for me today. So I put it away.
Just set that down.
I didn't beat it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's pretty much it.
All right. Well, next week we'll probably be back with some more God of War when Dane has his input. I know he's been playing it. I'm sure he'll have more to say, and hopefully we'll be able to go into a little more depth with the story. I'm sure hopefully you'll get a little bit further, but yeah, it's a great game. Play it. I'll be playing more Yakuza.
Okay.
All right, I think that's gonna do it. We're not gonna pull a movie out of the bag like we usually do this week because we haven't watched The Following. Sorry, Following. Yeah, it's hard not to say The Following. I feel like you have to say that without the word. But we'll watch that next week and report back on our findings on whether that movie is worthwhile or not. But for now, I think we're gonna plug ourselves out of here.
Gross.
Well, if you want to find us, Not So Subtle, you can contact us if you have any questions, comments, critiques, correction maybe if I got something wrong. I didn't. But please feel free to send a correction in.
I didn't get anything wrong, nor did I die during God of War.
Listen, God of War is a one-take game if you play it right. So is every game, actually, if you play it right. You can find us at It's Not So Subtle at gmail.com. It's Not So Subtle on Twitter, Instagram, Not So Subtle on Facebook. Please follow our page. It's Not So Subtle on YouTube. Subscribe and like our channel. If you're watching it on there, just go ahead and just click
like a channel.
I don't know how YouTube works, if I'm being honest with you. Like our video, I'm sorry. I don't know how YouTube works. If you're listening to this on iTunes, please follow our feed and also give us a like and maybe a review, a nice little 5-star review because we deserve it. And that would be really nice of you.
If you think we deserve it.
No, we deserve it, Colter.
We objectively deserve it.
There is no argument. We deserve it. All right, Colter, where can people find you if they want to?
They can find your boy Coltino Potino at Colter Potter on Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch. I posted a 4-photo series from Paris on my Instagram. and it's continuing the classic series of rap squats.
Let's go.
If you don't know about rap squats, look it up.
You about to.
It's basically just where you squat in like a cool pose.
Yeah.
And it looks cool. So I did that in front of various, you know.
Did you get one in front
monuments.
of the Eiffel Tower?
Of course, yes.
Of course. I don't know why I asked, but I just wanted to hear it. I wanted to hear it for sure.
Yeah. And they're pretty lit, so.
Nice. All right. If you want to find me, Jordan Miller, you can find me at the Killamilla on Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, and other video game services. You can follow my anime blog. We didn't talk about anime this episode. I haven't been watching any, but I could have made one up.
We talked about an anime-ass game.
Oh yeah, Yakuza 6. Incredibly anime-ass game, but also like does it in the best possible way. Play Yakuza 0 and 1 and 6 if you like the other ones.
Can they find any Yakuza GIFs on your Tumblr?
No, you can't. I could try to make some, but I just don't. I don't have the captured video footage that's required to make some good GIFs. So there's plenty of GIFable scenes in that game. Anyways, you can find my anime blog, Tenzo-Taicho on Tumblr. I think that's going to do it. I think that's it.
Did we make it through without Dane?
We did. It was tough, but we made it.
That's right.
Actually, if you look right here, Dane's actually been here the entire time.
Whoa, I don't know how I'm going to do that.
Listen, there's a picture of him somewhere. You can find him.
Yeah, just a JPEG with like not cropped even, just like a white background.
Just get a picture of Dane and just zoom in so that he's the only visible part, and it's just like it's a horrible quality image. I really want you to do that.
But are we still in it, or is it like in front of us?
No, we're still in it, but like it's just like it's a horribly like zoomed in picture of Dane.
JPEG of Dane. I need to like copy it over and over and over.
Yeah, and just like keep like zooming in a little bit on each one. It's like, oh man, that would be great.
There's like it's like a dank meme or whatever. How they do those like pixels. Yeah. Those.
All right.
Do you understand dank memes?
Nah, I barely understand any meme, let alone a dank meme. I don't know.
Dank memes are
dank.
Man, I don't know.
There's some next level shit. They're next level.
Next level.
You're not woke enough to understand a dank meme.
True. All right, guys, it's been dank.
It's been dank memes. Let's go.
Good night.
See ya.